What is up, everybody? Mr.
Man,
Chris.
Jesse was not playing around, man. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut off your intro.
No,
I
that's all
I forgot I was in the show.
Where's the Mo show? We need more show.
More show.
Welcome to Funkatopia Live. I am your host, Mr. Christopher, and this gentleman right here, the man whose snare hits harder than your ex's emotional baggage, Mr. Michael Bland.
What? Well, yes, indie face. I give you a indie face. Yes, indie face. Definitely. Yes, in the face. Jesse, that's what Jesse was saying. In your face, man. Wow.
Yeah, man.
We need to have him every year, man.
Yeah, he was well, and when they set up as that three-piece, how's the mic, by the way? Because I changed the mic. I went ahead and took away the Rodecaster. This was the old Rode mic, and I broke out my high-end fancy Sterling.
Okay.
That it's going to help with the compression, so there's not like going to be any spikes or stuff like that.
It's a little more smooth than what you had been rolling with. So.
Good.
Somebody will say something over here.
Yeah, man. So it was. I see Rico. Yeah, there you go. One of the best shows I've ever seen with Jesse, with Michael B and Sonny T at First Avenue. Yeah.
We did that after we knew Prince couldn't call an injunction. Me and Sonny can funk with Jesse now if we want to. Nobody's trying to shut it down.
Yeah, so we got a lot to talk about. A lot of people were already asking me about the graphic that I put up for tonight's show, where instead of it says Mr. Christopher Michael Bland, it says Mr. Funkatopia at Michael Bland. We'll get into that a little bit later. That was just that was very unusual. For those who were at the Vault meeting that they had, just the short end of it is that Funkatopia was called out twice. Well, he kept watching and looking at me like consistently, and Mr. Funkatopia. And then the rest of my celebration was pretty much people walking up to me going, "What was that about?" So I kind of have to give a little bit of background information. It is what it is.
What is the synopsis, man? I mean, really, why do you?
Well, we'll get into it. We're going to talk about the Vault stuff, and when we get into that window, I'll tell you a little bit about the background information about what he was referring to on a couple of those situations. The two times the two Funkatopia Mr. Funkatopia things were a little bit more snarky, I guess. It was I don't know. It was kind of just like a little bit of a dig, but it didn't bother me at all. I think everybody expected me to be bothered by it, and I wasn't bothered by it. But I will tell you that I sat all the way to the left-hand side. It was a wide room, and I sat all the way so I could sit by the speaker on that side of the room, and I was like really far away from them. But he caught my eye, or I caught his eye, and he had my number, man. He had him pulling his neck all the way over here, like this, trying to see you. Yeah, he had my number for sure, and I kept meaning to kind of get with him after the thing. It was like the second time that he did it, I didn't stand up, but I was like, what? Why? I got Funkaberry sitting right behind me. He's right there. This other podcaster's in the room.
Wow. Okay. Maybe he was just trying to make sure that you heard what he was saying.
That was it.
Were they addressing any of the issues that we had brought up on the show?
Yes. Yeah, that's what we'll get to. So we're going to talk a little bit about. We're going to talk, and I know this is technically the pre-show, but we're only 3 minutes away from having to go into the real show, so it really doesn't matter. Everybody's in here. We can just kind of start into the celebration. And one of the things I want to be really clear about before we go into this celebration recap I want to kind of preface this by saying I want to keep everything positive, because overall the celebration was a pretty big success. Was there some challenges and things that they probably need to kind of tweak out? Yes, of course, but overall, especially for the VIP folks, I thought for sure the VIP folks were going to be feeling some sort of way with the pricing and everything that kind of went down that we had already, touched on it a couple. But the VIP folks were singing nothing but praises with the way that they were taken care of. And that was one of the things that when we brought that up, we said, look, if you're going to be going in there, please take care of the VIP folks, because these people paying some really good money to be in that building, and apparently they did take care of them. Not because we said, but they did take care of them. They said the food was great, the sessions, the concert footage that they got was fantastic. The unreleased tracks that they have, all of which we'll discuss now. Thank you once again to the estate. I got a press pass this year, which is the first time. This is the first time, and it get me GA access. So I did not have VIP access. So I had to lean on other folks to kind of tell me what was going on the VIP channel. I asked a few people to kind of help me out, send me stuff. Nobody sent me anything except for IKEA Saran. She sent me a bunch of stuff. It was pretty detailed, so I'll be able to touch on some of the things that the VIP folks experienced. It was overall, it was great, and the vibe was great. I was very pleased. Everybody was still having a good time. I love you folks so much. It was so great to actually chill with you guys, and it was great. I got to meet a lot of Funkatopians, revisit a lot of Funkatopians. When I first got there was the day I got there, or the day after I got there, I actually touched base with Dorothy Inez, and she has an office in Dorothy Inez. She has an office in Bloomington called the Shine Sanctuary, where she does sound baths. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you've ever done a sound bath, but it's very intense. They have a mattress that has like a bunch of transponders in it or whatever, and it just totally envelops you in music. And I'm going to be working with her to set up an entire Prince experience, where it will be 1 hour of hand-picked Prince music that are very on the spiritual side of things. Tracks maybe off, the Expectations album, things like that, things that maybe a little bit more instrumental side of things, songs that have like those vibes to it, like in June and stuff like that. So really just kind of going in and creating a vibe, and it would be really awesome. So get ready for that. That will be pretty cool. And everybody had a great time. So what did you do over the weekend? Everything good?
Listen, my life is one big fire drill, man. Don't
okay.
I can't.
Okay.
Even,
all right, go.
I can't even get into it, man.
Right.
We just had a new roof put on the house. My father-in-law broke his leg in 2 places. And, so I'm
That's a mess.
I'm dealing with insurance. It's regular people stuff, nothing glamorous.
Yeah, there you go. So all right, so let's just get into it. We'll go into the celebration recap. I'm gonna leave us the same exact size, just because I don't want to be bigger. We're equal partners in this show, even though I'll obviously be doing lots of talking because I was at the celebration and kind of whatever. So I arrived on Tuesday. So we're going to do the celebration recap. And to be clear, I'm not going to cover the external events, like Dudley D's event that he had on top of the Union rooftop on Saturday night, or Purple Genealogy's event and stuff like that, because there's so much to cover here for the celebration. I really want to make sure that I'm respectful of everybody's time. But I did arrive on Tuesday. I did go to the Purple Playground Academy of Prince event with Adrian Crutchfield. That was really, really cool. And just quick shout out to them, all the work that they're doing, helping kids. just learn music and get enveloped in music. It's really, really awesome what they did. And also, of course, went to the Perfect Genealogy party. That was fantastic. Got the news that Audrey Johnson was promoted, or not even promoted, put into the position of president of PRN alumni. Is president is the right title. So she is now, Audrey Johnson, who many of you know, she is now over the PRN alumni thing. And they actually had a video that Craig Rice actually came on, and he actually did the whole announcement. So a lot of really, really cool stuff. But again, we're going to be focusing on the celebration right now. So go ahead, get comfortable, get whatever drinks and whatever you need to do, drink them, roll them, whatever you got to do. Overall, whatever you got to do to kind of get through, man, because it's going to be a lot. Overall, amazing event. Glowing reviews from VIP, as I said. It was really, really cool. I'm not going to go in order of each one of the days, mainly because I only had GA access and did not have VIP access. And again, shout out to Kia Cerrone, who gave me a lot of details on the VIP stuff. So we're gonna cover a lot of that. But the VIPs actually had their own day on Thursday. Thursday they had their own day there that they kind of went and they did a bunch of things. But I'm going to get to that because I want to talk about the concerts that they saw, the things that they saw, the unreleased music that they saw, and I want to kind of break it down in that category. So first, let's talk about the panels. With the panels, Bobby Z moderated the panel with the family, and that was really, really cool. Covered a lot of information, specifically, how each member was asked into the family project as far as how did Prince approach them, ask them, and he asked each one individually. And there was a lot of little tidbits and drops that happened in there. For instance, Bobby Z actually shared how Prince recorded him coughing. He just happened to be having a little bit of a coughing fit, and Prince recorded him. And if you guys remember the long version of the extended version of Raspberry Beret that has that coughing in it, that's Bobby Z's coughing. And I guess Prince had brought them into the studio and we're playing them the extended version. And when the cough came on, Prince turned around and smiled at Bobby Z. And Bobby's like, oh, so you used my cough. So that cough on Raspberry Beret, the extended version, is Bobby Z's. Also, as far as the family is concerned, the album, they're obviously celebrating the 40th anniversary. They had a lot of cool little tidbits and stuff. A lot of things that they covered on Monday, but some other things that we didn't cover on Monday. One question that I had was regarding Sinead O'Connor and how they felt about Nothing Compares to You being the mega hit that it was, considering that they had done it first on the family album. And I actually had that question, but it was just, I couldn't really find a place to fit it in, but they did. So good, it's out there. And obviously exactly what they felt is what you had anticipated that they would say, would be like, hey, we did it first. It could have easily been a hit. But obviously with Sinead's version, she created this whole entire vibe, this sad vibe with the black and white, whatever. Not that they couldn't have done the same thing, but I think that Sinead actually brought this different, really, what's the word I'm looking for? Moody. She just brought a different spin to it for sure.
I agree with that. I think that it's definitely not the way in which Prince would have. Like they didn't even try to like cop the Prince vibe at all. So
yeah.
They went for like some sort of other thing, man. Yeah.
Yeah, melancholy is a good word, Joni. Thank you. That's probably a good word. Also, for some reason, I didn't know this. I mean, I've got the album. I don't know if has been a long time since I've read the liner notes, but Bobby Z actually wrote River Run Dry.
That's right.
And I think a lot of people do know these little tidbits and stuff, and it kind of sits right at the top. And as many of you have heard me say before, I have very etch-a-sketch brain. Things kind of go in, and it may be important to me, it may not. If it's not, it's it's not going. Okay. So but there was other tidbits as well, like that the song Desire used to be called Ecstasy. One of the reasons that Prince had chose Claire Fisher was because he had done strings for Rufus, and Prince was a major Rufus fan.
Oh yeah.
So he actually that's one of the reasons why he brought Claire on. And I love the whole backstory of Claire Fisher. We won't go into that, but for those that don't know, Claire Fisher was all over a lot of Prince recordings, started with the family and kind of moving forward in a lot of strings. But Prince and Claire Fisher have never, ever met in person. Never met. They've only been in the same room once. And that was told to me by Claire Fisher's son, Brent, who I'd interviewed on the show years ago. And he said, yeah, there was an award show and Prince was in the background on the side of the stage and Claire Fisher was in front of him. Or was vice versa to that. Claire Fisher was behind him and Prince was in front, and they were close. They were like within 15 feet of each other and they still never met each other. And the only reason why they hadn't was because Prince was concerned that if he met him, it would mess up the whole, vibe and everything, because reportedly, everything that Prince gave to Claire really just killed it, just knocked it out of the park most of the time. So he just kind of felt like it was going to mess up that vibe. But anyways,
not only that, if you don't mind me
no, go ahead.
Adding also just what I remember also Prince had mentioned that he would sometimes include like kind of musical instructions. Like he'd give it. Claire was not lost in the wilderness on everything. He didn't allow him for all of that. Prince initiated some of those arrangements. He talked to me about it a little.
How did he like hum the parts into a tape recorder? Because he didn't write music.
If I'm thinking that he probably had a synthesizer and he kind of illustrated just what he was sort of thinking. He gave Claire sort of sketches to go on. And I remember something on Pink Cashmere. I was like, that's my favorite part. And Prince said he messed that up. Those weren't the notes that I asked him to put there.
Wow.
So, just so we keep this all even, Steven.
Oh no.
Claire Fisher obviously made this contribution to Prince's music. Prince was the man. Whatever you hear on Prince's records, I'm just saying. Now, I'm not saying Claire Fisher's wasn't a genius. He was. That's why Prince wanted so badly to work with him.
Right.
It didn't mean now I'm going to bow down and just let you do whatever you feel like doing.
Right. And very rarely did he like hand over the keys to something like that and it come out the way that, like, the biggest example would be Miles Davis.
Yes, but sometimes he did. I arranged the horns with Mike Nelson for Letter for Miles. He didn't give us any instruction. He said, hey, do what you want. Explore your mind. I mean, he created opportunities for people all the time, but somebody as prolific as Claire Fisher, you gonna have to put guidelines down because you'll just take over.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and the other thing with that too is that I think it was "Can I Play with You?" I'm sorry, we're getting off track. We Michael and I do this. We're music. We're music heads, but we're talking about Miles Davis, which was not in the mix. But Prince gave Miles Davis "Can I Play with You?" and just let him do his own thing. And when it was sent back, Eric Leeds told the story on the show that they both sat down in the studio and they popped it in. They were all excited, and when they got it, they were like,
"What happened?"
Okay, okay, all right. Well, we'll keep it. It's Miles, so I mean, but. Anyways, so that was cool. And then of course, after the family, the other panel was the Around the World in a Day panel. Now, I did not know much about Doug Henders or Laura LaPuma, or their contributions to either of them. And that's just because I didn't really follow up, but I did learn, and it ended up being very, very insightful and very, very cool. First off, for those who don't know, Doug is most iconically is the man behind the eyes.
Okay.
So he is the man behind the eyes and the nose and the lips that were on the Purple Rain, the big curtain that was there. And on top of that, which is another cool little notation too, was that in the movie Purple Rain, he was given 48 hours. They put him into the house from Purple Rain. They put him into the Purple Rain house and said, okay, in this movie, Prince is an artist, so we need you to fill this room with art, sketches and whatnot, and whatever. And so Doug had to go, I think it was like 48 to 72 hours or something like that. He had to go in there and like put like all those pictures and sketches and stuff that you see are Doug's work. And of course, he probably pulled some from some external sources too. But I think they wanted to make sure that whatever was there was going to be original, so they're not going to have to deal with clearances or anything else. I would imagine that's the case. So all that stuff that you saw was Doug Henders. So that was pretty freaking awesome. We'll talk about Tanya said, "Who's the woman?" That's Lord LaPuma. We'll talk about that as well. So the other thing too, obviously, we're talking about the 40th anniversary of Around the World in a Day, and yes, he was the artist behind behind this. And he actually gave the story. We had talked about this, the album cover before, talking about everything like the mountains in the back were actually a woman that's laying down. That's her knees that are on the left-hand side of that photo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all the different little things that were on there. That little sticker with the balloon and whatever, and the boy, that was not on the actual artwork. That was actually the cellophane that was on there. And Doug was talking about how he was glad that wasn't in the artwork. Not that he didn't necessarily like it, but it just kind of caused, a bunch of different, things and whatnot. And yeah, so he had showed the Polaroids, and I think some of the Funkatopians here actually had given us Polaroids before. Of where each one of these characters on here came from. One of the things that I did not know was this little boy. I can make myself large here for a second. Is that this little boy right here that's on the cover? Doug said he was inspired from that picture from the Vietnam War. The little girl that's running naked towards the camera and whatever. You remember that that award-winning shot of these kids running from terror from, I guess, something that's going on. I don't know what the whole background story is.
All I can think of is Tiananmen Square with the tank and the.
Yeah, no, it's it is a naked. It's a picture of a naked girl, young naked girl, like probably 10, 12, something like that, or whatever, running towar's the camera. And she's running away, but he said that was the inspiration for that. And which he said boy. But it's obviously this child is not running, and it's a boy, not a girl. So yeah, the Hiroshima bombing. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Oh,
yeah. So
the Napalm Village. Christopher Mahiri just texted me. Well, a lot of people are just chiming in, watching from the wings on us, man.
What? Hold on. What was this question from? Was the drawing of the woman with the eyes someone printed? Drawing of the woman with the eyes. Which one are you talking about?
Oh, the thing before with the Doug Henders.
Oh yeah, no. Actually, he said that it was not inspired by anybody. Somebody did ask him that, and says it's inspired by anything. He just kind of went. There was somebody that said that it was inspired. One of his ex-girlfriends inspired one of the on this album cover. One of the women that are on here was inspired by his ex-girlfriend. I think it was the Raspberry Beret girl, and he, but I think it was Raspberry Beret girl. I thought I didn't write all the stuff down, but yeah, one of them was inspired by his ex-girlfriend. So it was actually pretty cool to kind of get all the details about the elements and stuff. Anyways, another thing that's interesting about the album cover, I keep on taking it down and putting it back up, is that Chick, his bodyguard, was on the cover of the Around the World in a Day album. But they had gotten in some type of argument or fight or something. This is per Doug. And Prince asked Doug, take Chick off the album cover. So,
wow. All right.
So I don't know what got covered up or where Chick was. Where Chick was, but yeah, it was apparently Chick was on here somewhere and he had to be removed from this album cover. We probably need to get Doug on the show and do like a talk about this. Yeah, it's not it's just it's just interesting, all the stories that kind of go with this whole scenario. It's pretty amazing. Also, one of the things that Doug had done is that if you saw the Purple Rain tour, there was be like bright lights that would happen on one side of the stage where you'd see the silhouette of Prince, and then the light would go down, and then it would be on the other side of the stage, and you're like, man, how did he get from one side to the other? And apparently Doug had made a bunch of Prince heads on the on mannequins, and that's what you saw. So he was the one that created the Prince heads for those mannequins.
Sure.
To get from one to the other. And of course, as I saw somebody had mentioned in the mentioned in here, he was also the one that was responsible for the iconic cloud suit. Yes, of course.
Okay. While we're on the subject of around the world in a day, can we just somebody emailed me today I guess I could call him a friend. A fan, definitely. This guy named Ronnie Badra, who I just emailed with him, and now he's in the chat over here on the comments. But it reminded me of what we were talking about earlier. I mean, so back in respect to the future plans from the estate.
That's coming.
Which I have a question for you. Just give me your opinion. Do you think it's more likely that we'll see a box set on Around the World in a Day, or Under the Cherry Moon soundtrack like Parade? Did you get a sense for?
Well, I will go ahead and bounce ahead because I am going to be talking about the music stuff on that. But in regards to that, they are planning on doing let me pull it up real quick. A box set, as announced at the Vault meeting, a box set of Around the World in a Day is coming before the end of 2025.
Okay.
So that was revealed at the Vault thing. We're going to get to the Vault session stuff for sure, but since that question just came out now, there is going to be a box set of Around the World in a Day that is coming before the end of 2025 per, I think it was Londell that had, I'm not sure if it was Londell or Charles that had kind of revised it. And then, we talked about the anniversary things. We've been talking about the anniversary things quite a bit, and that came up at the Vault thing too. He was staring me down the whole time. He was talking about all the anniversaries that are coming up. That was
because you're highlighting everything that they.
I know. And he basically, for people that don't watch the show or that haven't watched the show that were in the room, they just kind of were talking, noticing that he was talking a lot about all the anniversaries that are coming up. But for Funkatopians and people that have watched the show, everybody there knew what was up. But we're going to talk about that as well. But he's basically saying, which we said too, we'll just go ahead and talk about it now, that part. There's a lot of anniversaries that are coming up. We know that. We are well aware that there was anniversaries that happened this year. I got to forward to this. This is the screen that we were talking about for this year. I've shown this a bunch of times, and then on top of that, this is all the anniversaries that were happening these were all the anniversaries that were happening this year, and that was all the anniversaries that were happening next year. Now,
this graphic makes me panic on the inside.
I know.
I don't understand it though. I'm like, there's so much, and there's so many of these records that I'm on, and I'm just like, wow, man.
Well, here was the point, and he said we can't. He was talking about the anniversary repeatedly. Yeah. And he said we can't, and he was like watching me the whole time. It was like he was talking directly to me, and I was just like, dude, I get it. I understand that was not the point of this. And I know you're watching, Londell's they're probably watching again right now. But here's the point of this was not to say, hey, you need to be celebrating these anniversaries. That was not the point of that. The point of that was saying, here are all the things that are happening next year that could serve as potential opportunities that you could take advantage of. There's no way. There is no way that you can do a release or an homage to every single one of these albums. It's just not possible. You'd love for it to be, but it's just not possible. I got a feeling we're probably going to be waiting another 5 years before we see the 50th anniversary of Controversy, because then you can't not do something like that. But he did say that for next year they're going to be focusing on Parade. So Parade is going to be the box set that will happen next year.
That's the one I figured was most likely. I didn't think that I figured it might have been too late in the year for them to really pull off a thing with Around the World Today, but I'm happy to hear it. Hey, the more the better. The more the merrier. I'm cool with it. I just didn't think it was likely.
Yeah, Purple Rain. They just mean mugging you. Yeah, he had. Tyra said he threw you under the bus 3 times. Yeah, I mean the anniversary thing that we just showed, and I've showed that a few times, and that's what he was getting at. So for those that had not seen that previously, that's what that was about. That's what that whole thing was about.
Okay.
And the other 2 times that he called me out as Mr. Funkatopia were for we'll just talk about that particular part right now. Because people were continually asking me about this, like right after that happened, it like everybody came up to me. What was that about? What was that about? You were the first person I called. I went outside and I said, dude.
I remember, yeah. Like he's making you famous. Who is he? Is he Kanye?
No, I didn't have a problem. I didn't have a problem with it. I understood what he was saying. And it wasn't negative. I felt, and the only reason why I'm addressing it is because people keep asking me about it. I'm still getting emails. There's still 2 emails that are sitting in my box right now. People going, "Hey, what was that about?" So I kind of feel like I needed to address it because
you better deal with the fallout.
Yeah. I mean, that's just all there is to that.
No, it's perfectly fine if you address it. If he's bringing, he's basically aiming people in your direction.
Right. Well, and I didn't take offense to it at all because I knew what he was saying, because all that really says to me is that they're watching, they're paying attention, and
that's what we want.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, that's fine. And I realize that a lot of shit. Oh, you know what? And we got to put up the friggin' banner. We are not endorsed or affiliated with Prince, Paisley Park, or the Prince Estate. We are not affiliated at all.
Thank you, Ben.
Yeah. All commentary here is just us talking. You can finish it.
Saying nothing. We're not saying anything, man.
We're not saying anything. We're just talking.
Better to do on a Tuesday night. That's all.
Right. So
hold up. Charles says it's not a super deluxe, but a remastered extended Around the World in a Day. I guess.
Charles.
Brian C. Alfred at 723. Put that over here in the comments.
Oh, okay.
So
I don't know that I said it was a super deluxe. I just said it was a box set. So I don't know. I never know the difference.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
Well, here's what I'll tell you regarding that. Again, we're kind of dipping into the vault section now. But one of the things when he was talking about Parade, because he did veer off talking about Netflix, it was nobody really asked, but I guess Londell kind of felt like he needed to get off his chest regarding the whole controversy with the Netflix documentary and everything that happened. That was the first Mr. Funkatopia mention when he was talking about the Netflix documentary. And I don't, again, all of our phones were locked up, so nobody was able to record. I think John Bream was able to get some photos, but that's John Bream. So he, but he was like, some people, read all 17 pages of the complaints that we had about the Netflix documentary, right, Mr. Funkatopia? And first off, when we talked about the Netflix documentary, and you can speak a little bit to this, we didn't want it released if it really is as negative as you say it is. And they were talking about the fact that they had interviewed Bobby Z for, I think the time was like 7-8 hours or something like that. And they only used like 27 seconds of everything that they had gotten from him because they only wanted to nitpick in order to kind of make it to be whatever the hit piece is that they're wanting to make it. And if you want to speak to that a little bit, you said you got that vibe too.
Yeah, a woman called me. I think it was Tamara Rosenberg who called and tried to book me for an interview, and I reluctantly agreed. And then the next day I called her back and I said I didn't want to do it. I didn't feel right about it. I felt like, I had a couple of experiences with like Reels TV and like a couple of things like that where words I was saying were taken out of context or kind of, it was really, I was skittish. I didn't get a good feeling. And then the next time I talked to John Bream, he was telling me that he felt like when they interviewed him, like they were really fishing for negative things.
Right.
Like they were looking for negative things to say. I've sided with the estate on this from the get-go. I don't want it out there.
Yeah, I don't, but here was the other thing too, is that, I think that, with his comment, because we agreed with them.
Yeah.
So, and I think that was kind of point of it. I think it was just the way that it was kind of verbalized. It may have sounded like it may have sounded like a little poke.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to get you up to speed, young man.
Right.
Okay.
But we agreed with
you want
them.
the answers. I'm giving you. You want the truth.
but we agreed with them. But I think everybody in the room kind of agreed with them. But let's also be real regarding the Netflix documentary. I don't want to rehash the whole Netflix documentary thing. But if that documentary was on Netflix, every single one of these people that were saying, "Oh, we don't want it. Oh, it's travesty, blah blah blah," they would be little girl poltergeisting in front of the TV, that whole just binge watching that whole friggin' thing. And they know that they would. And the only reason why it's compelling is because the fact that not for the salacious stuff or whatever, not for that, for the unreleased music that would be dripped in there, for interviews and clips and all types of things that we had never seen before that was supposedly incorporated in this.
Absolutely.
And that's why people want to watch it. They're not, I mean,
they're not attracted to it for all the negativity.
Yeah, no.
They're attracted to it because Prince there's so much greatness. There's so much stuff we haven't seen and heard.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I mean, you talk about somebody. I mean, I don't know if we ever played a show that there wasn't a videotape of. That's just us. That's for the solid 7 years I was with him under his regular employ.
Yeah, but they did say, since we're here, as far as the vault thing is concerned, we're kind of digging into the vault section now. But as far as the vault scenario was concerned, they said that there's a new documentary that's in the work. They're using an award-winning director. He did not divulge who that was, but it is not going to be just it's not just going to be a big documentary like what they had intended for Netflix.
Sure.
It's multiple documentaries, apparently.
Okay.
So,
I hope Spike's in there somewhere. I hope.
Yeah, when people were guessing who the director might be, and somebody said Spike Lee, and immediately he said, "No, it's not Spike."
All right. Okay. All right.
So, I mean, could it be? I mean, we could speculate all day long, but could they bring what's her name back?
Ava DuVernay.
Could they bring her back?
Cool with that.
I mean, sure.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so you have that.
Who
so
knows?
Multiple documentaries. I don't remember all the him. I do not recall him sharing any other details regarding that type of stuff. I mean, the fact that it's multiple documentaries, it's just, it is what it is. But sure. He did say a couple of times, he being Londell, did actually say a couple of times, the main problem with the Netflix documentary is that nobody is going to disrespect Prince on his watch. They are extremely protective of Prince's legacy and the stories and things that get out there, because some of it is just a wealth of it is not true. There's stories that can't be proven. He made mention of a bunch of people that were on the documentary that were saying things like they didn't, claiming that they wrote specific songs or wrote this or wrote that. The issue is that you have no way to prove any of that stuff. Right. It's just somebody just wanting to get on the documentary and possibly go ahead and cement their lie as a truth because now it's part of an actual official documentary. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that trying to squash is just like, we're not going to go ahead and weave in lies to what's the actual truth of everything that's going on. Yeah. And unless you have proof, it's,
I mean, I get it. As somebody asked me, don't you think these women have a right to express themselves and to tell, the truth from how they see it. And say,
Yeah.
Prince shouldn't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Have your own documentary.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about the fact that there is a documentary coming. He really did not give any type of timeline on it at all, but he did say that obviously we have the Broadway Purple Rain musical that is being produced by Oren Wolf. That is still in full effect, and their plans are to launch in Minneapolis in October of this year. And I guess to kind of get a feeling, because I guess it is moving to Broadway. I didn't realize that this was actually going to be, I knew it was a musical, but I don't know exactly when in the timeline it became a Broadway musical that's actually going to be on Broadway. I think it's warranted. I mean, Prince is iconic enough to absolutely have a presence on Broadway. There's no reason why it should not be there. But apparently rehearsals are going to be starting in August at the State Theater in Minneapolis. And again, they have not made mention of who is playing the lead of Prince. I have had a couple people tell me who it is, but it is hearsay. So I ain't saying a thing. I'm not saying nothing. Because I'm trying to keep, I'm trying to maintain this relationship. And I know that, I kind of feel like, really, in all honesty, his call outs to Funkatopia, well, Mr. Funkatopia, just so you know, I'm not changing my name. It's still Mr. Christopher. But the two call outs to Mr. Funkatopia and the stuff regarding the anniversaries and things. So that makes, 3 times that we were kind of brought up in this hour-and-a-half meeting, that it's a positive thing. It's a positive thing because I kind of feel like it kind of allows us to kind of be a little bit of an outlet or a conduit for all of you fans out there to kind of, so they can kind of be able to see and hear what you guys are thinking. And if we can be a positive and contributing force to that, I'm all about it. There's nothing that we want more than to be a conduit or to be able to help in any way that we possibly can. It's not the full-time thing that we do, because Michael and I are music heads, so we are going to be going all over the place. We're not just Prince focused, even though it seems that way a lot, because it's a legendary NPG drummer in the house right here. So it's woven into the formula, man.
Yeah, we certainly have a slant going on, but I mean, I'm all for diversifying, man. I mean, I think we should make it our business to really look at some different.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, and to kind of speak to that point, next week, I'm not going to get off track, but I want to kind of give you a sample of exactly what that be. But next week, on the 17th, we're going to have the lovely Mohini Day in the mix.
Well, all right.
Mohini Day is going to be here next Tuesday night. And so, but then we don't worry. We get back. Mohini Day is amazing, but don't worry, because the following Tuesday, we're going to be back in the purple side of things. And we have the Time Band's going to be in here on the 24th. So Jellybean Johnson, Tori Ruffin, Monty Moore, and Ricky Freeze. They're all going to be here on the 24th. Man. So so we are, so we go off, we come back, and we go off, and we come back. So we kind of go all over the mix. So as far as that's concerned, that's really, really cool. They did make, I won't want to get too far off. We're touching on some things in the vault right now because we happen to be in this arena, but I do want to go back to the panels, because I do want to talk about Laura LaPuma too. That was part of that first panel. Londell was also clear that as far as it was the jukebox musical, I think. It's the jukebox musical. There's going to be a Prince jukebox musical that's going to be done. And just so you know, that's a totally different thing from the Purple Rain Broadway musical. This is another jukebox musical that Londell announced that's going to be directed by Oscar-nominated director-producer Ryan Coogler from Sinners, Creed, Black Panther. fame, and he's going to be working on the movie along with his wife, producer Zinzi Kugler. I'm not familiar with her, but obviously I'm familiar with his work. I have not seen Sinners yet. Have you seen Sinners? I heard lots of positive things.
I've tried twice, man. I mean, I don't mean to be that guy. But
okay, all right.
It's not my style.
Yeah, it's a period vampire piece that's kind of got a little bit of
okay.
That's what it is. That's what I take from what I'm seeing.
I mean, and that's cool. It's just it's I don't know how to explain. I think that I hate to say it, but I feel like I needed maybe a couple more known actors in it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sort of, you know what I mean? It's like it's a strong ensemble, but I don't know none of these people, and it has an effect on how I'm, how it's coming off to me, I guess.
Understood.
I think the music is cool, but I also don't know if I like that treated, super grainy kind of that look.
Oh, is that what it is? I haven't seen it, so is that how it is?
That's you haven't seen it?
No, I haven't seen it. No, I haven't seen it.
Sorry, man. Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Listen, I right on, man.
You're not. Well, let me just say, because that's the main thing. That's the other part of this too, is that you want somebody who is part of the culture to be able to properly explain and display the culture.
So I'm not saying it. I'm not even
I'm all about
it. I'm just saying it's not. It didn't speak to me, even though it's supposed to. Maybe I missed some things. I will probably go back and try to watch it again, but I found some of the music, quite honestly, distracting, and the graphic aspect of it, just like all the blood and whatnot. I mean, it's a vampire movie. What are you going to see?
Right.
Yeah. I'm not, and thrillers, scary movies. Man, I've been down with the Halloween franchise since I was like 11 years old. I've seen every Halloween movie there is. So it's not that. It's the style. It's not my style.
All right. So let's go back because I want to make sure that we don't do any injustice to the panels and stuff and the live concerts. We're going to be talking about the live concerts as well. Mm-hmm. But so let's talk about. I gotta scroll back up here to Laura LaPuma, who she was an art director for Warner Brothers, and so she was the one that was responsible for picking out the artwork for Let's Pretend We're Married, and a bunch of other things too, including, and I'll have to make myself bigger. She also here was something that was really, really interesting is on the Around the World in a Day, since we're talking about this as well. A lot of people take this for granted, especially nowadays, and even back in the day. I mean, you and I are about the same. We're the same age, but when you look at the fonts and stuff that are on here, a different font for each song, and on the inside of the album, it's like that too. It's all that stuff. You have to remember that this album was released before computers were a main thing. To do this kind of stuff required cutting and pasting and creating and putting things in place on like these presses and things. It was not a simple process. So this was like once again one of these things that was way ahead of this time, because when Prince came to Warner Brothers and said, well, basically told the art department that I want a different font for each song, or I want a different font for this and a different font for that and a different font for this, they're kind of like, well, what? It was really a groundbreaking thing and very arduous. I can only imagine. I mean, especially this inner stuff is ridiculous. I mean, it's just ridiculous the amount of effort that would have to go into doing something like this. So hats off for sure to all the work. And again,
it's a precise vision, the whole thing. That's what Prince really had that a lot of other cats did not.
Right.
He could see it all. When he was writing the song, he could see the rest of it. He could see the video. He could see the color schemes. He just who was it? I think it might have been Susan Rogers, who called him what I now call him, which is an ultra creative. I think that's what she called him.
Right. Yeah.
I get that. He could see it all. It's like just round the clock.
Right.
You know?
Typesetting. Thank you, Kiaria. Kiaria, it was good to meet you. Typesetting was the word. Kiaria, it was good to meet you. Finally be able to put a face to the name. And this was really awesome. I got to be able to put faces to some of these names of people that I see in these chat rooms all the time. It was amazing. And another thing too, again, we take computers for granted. Like this, I'll make myself big again. This imagery here, which we take it for granted in computers and stuff, but this was a white floor, and Prince hand took each one of those flowers and positioned every single one of those flowers on this album cover.
Of course he did.
And then of course he did. And then had a photographer get up on a ladder and take a photo down of these flowers. So that's kind of what you're seeing. And again, Laura LaPuma was the one that was responsible for that typesetting, and also all that. See that typesetting where each one of the songs fonts are different. Yeah, was present on this one too. So so Prince was pretty much a literal nightmare to art directors. I mean, not a nightmare, but it's like he's just like he did with musicians. He pushed them to the limits of their capabilities to be able to say.
But hey. Here's the other thing I was thinking about while you were talking about that. He still wasn't as bad as Led Zeppelin. What they had, was it In Through the Outdoor that had 4 different album covers?
Yeah. They still
got the biggest. They still pushed the record label. Even, man, that's 4 bullies. Prince was just 1 bully.
That's true.
And Peter Grant. You seen Song Remains the Same? How big Led Zeppelin's manager was?
Yeah, he was a big dude.
Yeah. You see him in the movie corner and that dude, right, I want to see the money. I want to see the receipts right now. That dude looked like a professional wrestler, man.
Yeah, The Song Remains the Same. I remember. Was it The Song Remains? Was it that doc where they covered him a lot? And they were talking about just how terrifying he was, because if the band didn't get paid, how tall was he? He was 6'5", something ridiculous, and big
wide,
dude. And wide. So he was looking down at you, being, "You're going to pay us now."
Right. He's walking the record label. He walking in the president's office like that.
Right.
4 album covers, all different, mate. Right.
Oh my God.
They just did what he said.
Yeah, it's okay. But again, he was. She was also, again, Laura LaPuma we're still talking about Laura LaPuma in that first panel. She was responsible for also doing all that iconography that we're talking about, and the When Doves Cry album cover with all the flowers and stuff. So it was and what was the other thing? Oh yeah. And a more important thing too is that she was also responsible for this. It was obviously that symbol was on Prince's motorcycle, but she took it and made it out. So it wasn't her idea of mixing the two things, but she explained the process. She was going over some photos that were taken from Purple Rain, and she was using the eyeglass piece, and she was kind of looking through on the photos, and she saw that on Prince's motorcycle and decided, I'm going to take it, I'm going to blow it up big. And then she said she took a marker or something and she created that design. She was responsible for a lot of different things, and including also the album cover for The Glamorous Life. Wow. Yeah, she was also responsible for the photography on, and what's really I noticed about this is that I have this version, but I also have, strangely enough, I have a Spanish version.
Okay.
I saw this at a record store, and I was just like, I already have this album, but I think I have to have it because of that.
Is the whole record in Spanish?
Well, I mean, everything on the back is all in Spanish. I have not put this on I literally have not. I don't think it is. Okay. It would be great if it was. I mean,
because it was my understanding that Sheila didn't really speak Spanish. It's not that she wasn't around it, but
yeah. I would probably guess not. Okay. But if anybody has that, let me know if it is. I don't think it is in Spanish. That would be cool. And the other thing that I would say is another cool little point about Laura LaPuma is because of the fact that she was the art director for WB, Prince made her go to WB and have them indicate that they would not basically to release Love Sexy without them seeing the album cover. She had to go. She was the one that had to go into WB and say, Prince is going to release an album, but you cannot see the album cover. He doesn't want you to see the album cover, and you have to agree that you will release it no matter what, even without seeing the album cover. And that story just seems like, wow, that seems like a lot of trust. That seems like a lot. But they did, and to their credit, they were very, very artist friendly. No matter all the negative stuff, that's one of the things they were saying. Regardless of all the negative stuff that you heard about Warner Brothers, they were very, very artist friendly. And so
listen,
and for those
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say for those that don't know, and just to finish off this, Prince was not naked on this album cover. Gilbert Davison was on the show years ago. And probably a couple years ago, and he said that this photo shoot, Prince was wearing green shorts during this album shoot, and that they airbrushed his midsection. And he said no, he was modest. He was sitting there in green shorts. He obviously did not have a shirt on, and he did not have pants on, but they were green shorts, and they airbrushed it. And that was the first time I had heard that, was when Gilbert said it on the show. And what was interesting is that also we had Lord LaPuma on this panel said that she was invited to that photo shoot, and she was told to sit in a chair on the other side of where they were doing this photography. And so she had to sit there, and she could hear all the flashes going off and the clicks and everything and some chatter and whatnot. And they just said, just wait here. And then they came back to her and said, okay, you can go. So she was essentially brought in for nothing, to sit there on the opposite side of whatever this backdrop was and listen. And that was just, it's crazy. So there you go. So little stories and whatnot for sure. All so, right. And I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
I don't remember now. It's all right, man.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I let it go.
Here's the thing. When you start talking, when you get a thought, I want to be able to make sure that you get your thought out, because you're like me as far as that's concerned. So I don't want to derail you at all.
I was just thinking about how it's just, some things are just so Prince. It's like he'd rather you believe he was naked. Sure. It's even posthumously, somebody tries to put out a documentary, somehow through the universe, the cosmic power to stop it.
Yeah.
Black Album, same thing. It's like, dude.
Yeah. And Anita Webster said she also designed the Parade album cover. That's correct. She also did. The photos were taken, and she picked out the photos, and she knew that she was going to be, this is obviously a new one. I think this is a reissue. But one of the things she said is that she wanted to create something that was going to catch Prince's eye. And because of the fact that Around the World in a Day was a gatefold album, she wanted to make this a gatefold album too, where it spread out and it would be, this on this side and this on the other. But one thing I did not notice was she said she strategically made it so that when she created this album, his belly button was on the spine. And you can verify it right there. There's his belly button on the spine of the album. So she made sure that when she put this gatefold together, that his belly button was right there on the spine.
Is it the belly button from which side though?
It joins. It joins
the two. That's what's incredible about it.
It joins the two. Yeah, it's weird.
That's great.
It's bizarre. And that was the idea really that she came up with. So that's pretty cool. So there's that. So that's one of the really kind of cool things about the panels. And we've had this before. You get a guest on, and there's a lot of people that don't really know a lot of the stories about the guests, and they end up being amazing guests. Like a lot of people didn't know the story of Gilbert Davidson, but when he came in here, he shared all kinds of stories that nobody had heard before. It was just amazing. So that fast forward to Friday night, they had 4 concerts. And for VIP folks that had a Thursday stuff, I'm going to get to you. I'm going to talk about the stuff we're going to talk about the unreleased music that was played. We're going to talk about the and just to be clear, I did get clearance that I could talk about this stuff. So I was like, I'm trying to do everything I possibly can to play nice for sure.
Yeah, I mean, what we all want the same thing, man. We all got
right, exactly. Yeah, so there's that. So the opening acts were Jada Nicole, who's amazing. These are all photos that I took, by the way. So any photos that I'm about to play up here, they put up here. I definitely took advantage of the media pass. I have hundreds of photos of Morris Day and the Time, of Jesse Johnson, everybody in the band, not hundreds of photos of each person, and the family. I've got hundreds of photos that I have to edit. So you will be enjoying those photos once I get them. And of course, I'll make them available to the estate for whatever purposes they want to use them for, in exchange for as a thank you for this media pass that they blessed me with this year.
Yeah.
But so Jada Nicole, amazing. She was so good, super strong vocals. I told her that as much after the show. I said, can I get my photo with you? Because, you know, I really love your stuff. I think you're going to hit. I really do. I think if you find that right combination, she could hit. She was really, really good. And this tap on my shoulder, and I turn around, and it's Laudel. And he takes my phone from me, and he takes the picture of me and Jada. And I'm just like, okay, here we go. So it was Jada Nicole, and then Earth Gang's Johnny Venus. Johnny Venus actually was a starter, but he sang 2 songs that were very ballad type songs, really a lot of good bit of falsetto, really great stuff. I think I did actually record a piece of that. I'm pretty sure I recorded the first song that he performed. But for those that don't know him, he's part of the rap group out of ATL here called Earth Gang, and you've probably heard Earth Gang stuff. And matter of fact, when I said that when we had the family on Monday, Susanna Melvoin was like, "That's who that is." So yes, that was.
They're freaky.
Yeah.
They're like outcasts from the other end of the galaxy.
Right. Exactly. It's amazing stuff. And then, of course, after those 2 were done, then, of course, we got the family. The family came on, and they were performing as well. And the main players all there, Paul Peterson, Susanna Melvoin, Jerome Benton, Jellybean Johnson, Eric Leeds, and whatnot. Their performance also was super strong, really, really tight. You could tell they spent a lot of time practicing. They had some really different, really cool renditions of High Fashion. I posted that on Facebook. If you go to facebook.com/Funkatopia, you can actually see that clip of them doing High Fashion. They kind of stutter stepped it. They separated out the vocals so it wasn't just like one line on top of another. It was like, I know a sexy little girl.
Oh, right.
And then it kind of did a little bit. Yeah. It kind of fell back. And so there was all those little pieces and nice little touches that he was putting in there that were really, really good. And of course, they also integrated some stuff from F Deluxe as well, like songs like Gaslight. And they had merch there, some really, really cool t-shirts. Shoot, I did not bring that t-shirt in here. But they had really, really cool t-shirts. I'm sure it's available on their website. But they had t-shirts, signed posters, a photo from Steve Park. I think it was a digital photo from Steve Park that they were selling big posters of that were all autographed by them. And they did an auction. Paul Peterson, are you in the chat room, sir? I normally see you floating about. You normally come to the shows. But Paul Peterson, if you are in here, they were doing a guitar auction that they all had signed. And it was an auction for Guitars for Kids. Is that the name? Somebody in here tell me if that's it's Guitars for Kids. I think it's what it's called. But I think the bidding, it was a silent auction. It was on a sheet. It started at 500. And I was just like, well, yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool guitar. But I think it ended at like 3,000. So somebody bought that guitar for $3,000. And that's great, because what they do is they purchase guitars, just like the name insinuates, it's Guitars for Kids. They purchase guitars for kids. so that they can learn music, and they can kind of, because many musicians, especially guitarists, will tell you that music saved their lives. Music saved my life. Music saved your life. Music saves people's lives. And if you can get guitars and instruments into the hands of kids sooner rather than later, it's definitely an amazing thing to be able to do something like that. So they did that auction with that guitar, and it was really, really cool. And again, another shout out that's kind of outside of Celebration, but to Purple Playground and, Willie and them, that do the exact same thing, where they are teaching kids music, and they're teaching them how to structure things, and they're how to write music, and same thing with the Time Band that's going to be on the show on the 24th, and the stuff that they're doing, teaching people how to write music and all this stuff. So this is really, really cool stuff, and it's pretty amazing, some of the things that are happening. Yeah. So anyways, kudos to the family for that awesome auction and whatnot. And then, of course, my man Jesse Johnson then performed after that. I have to lighten up all these photos. Again, there's lighting stuff, and when you have lights and stuff that are like flying by you, and sometimes it's hard to kind of catch some of the stuff. But Jesse Johnson, Jerry Hubbard, Brian Edwards. There was a photo of me and Jesse on Facebook before the show. We talked a little bit before the show, and it was really, really cool to finally get an opportunity to kind of hang out with him again and kind of talk, just kind of geek out on all things that are coming and whatnot. And then he came out and he put on a crazy Rocky show, which is what we showed right at the beginning of this broadcast, was the clip of My Life. But I think it was about halfway through My Life, because he blended it with, well, I had the set list too. I put the set list out on Facebook as well, but My Life was like blended with another one of his rock songs, and it was just so killer. And I mean, when you have a three-piece like that, I mean, but they did have keyboards and some background vocals that were on some backing tracks, but they killed it. They really, really killed it. My man Jesse was he was on point. He was completely on point. And I can't say it enough that I am so excited to potentially get you guys the opportunity to hear some of his new music, because I can't brag enough about some of this new music that he's got that you guys are going to get. You guys are in for a treat when it finally comes. And then, of course, to close the night, Morris Day and the Time obviously played. And I don't know why I don't have Morris Day in the Times thing in here, but I do have photos of Morris Day and the Time. But for some reason, they did not make it into the into the scroll. That's fine. But Morris Day and the Time came on. They obviously played all the hits and got lots of great photos of them, and Morris and Jerome and Jelly Bean and the whole crew. So it was really, really good. I mean, they pretty much, this is not saying anything against the Time. They have their formula, and it works really well for them. It's essentially the same set list that they've kind of been touring behind, with the intro video and everything. At the beginning, some slight variations, because sometimes they'll put in chocolate and they'll take it out, and they'll put something in and take it out. So there is some slight variation to that set list. Very receptive crowd, obviously, because these are all, Purple heads that are in here. So, it's a little bit different when they come to like a place like Atlanta, and, they play in an auditorium where everybody's sitting, and it's kind of just entertain me, it's like, okay.
Yeah. I get that. You know what? While we're on the subject of that, because I did speak, I keep my own feelers out. I do independent research all the time, and I know we're trying to keep this show positive. And this is not something negative, but I think something the estate might want to start to try to make more progress on is understanding that these audiences are getting older all the time. I'm 56,
That's right.
It's there. What I heard was there was not exactly what you would call ample seating.
There was no seating. Well, there was seating on the sides.
Okay.
One of which was for I guess VIP folks, because it was roped off. So I guess you had to have special access to get in there. But that was one of the things that Londell had said when he was introducing one of the bands. He said, y'all really want seats, and everybody was like, yes.
Okay, good. So they know that then.
Yeah, but you also have to understand too, that when you have seating like that, it really does affect the energy of that, because that's what happened with Moore's Day and the time. Yes, somebody just corrected me. Anita said Jerome was with the family, not the time. Yes, you're correct. If I slipped out Jerome, that was a misspeak.
You better clear it up.
That was a misspeak.
You know how it is, man. People are listening.
Yeah, Mr. Funkatopia.
Did he say Jerome was there with the time? No, he was there with the time.
Isn't that right, Mr. Funkatopia?
Yeah.
So, anyways, where the hell was I? Oh, last year, Morris Day and the Time played, and they played at the State Theater where there's seats, and it was a very notable energy. Because when people are sitting, they're chilling. There's not a whole bunch of propensity or people willing to kind of get up. So if you have that scenario, you're forcing people to dance. They're standing. And I think it did have an effect on the energy, because I think when you're seated, it's just like any show that you see at the City Winery. I mean, there could be amazing bands at the City Winery, and you have to you're just sitting there, and there's no. I saw Sheila E. at the City Winery, and there's been, very few people are really kind of encouraged to dance. It's just I think it's just a vibe thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're ever going to get everybody to agree on that. Some people, I mean, I agree with what you're saying, but it's if you're going to hold concerts, you gotta understand the demographic.
Yeah.
That's all. You got to accommodate the people who are coming. And it doesn't have to be everybody. It doesn't have to be total seating, but there's got to be some flexibility, man.
Yeah, and Cassandra was mentioning, I'm not sure, she said the special guests were ADA and not VIP. Yeah, I didn't think they were VIP because I didn't see any. The VIP, the front part of the stage was roped off for VIP. So that was the VIP area, was stage front, and then, behind, I don't know how many feet, 30, 50 feet, something like that. And then everybody GA was able to get on the sides, and except for that side, which had which, just like she said, had ADA compliant.
Okay. Also, I also heard people complain about standing in line also, like 4 hours and whatnot. I understand that it's a thing, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that they're doing the best that they know how to do at this particular juncture. But
yeah, Web Diva makes Jerome, Jesse, and St. Paul were there. I truly don't understand why they weren't included in the time set. Just saying. Yeah, well, I mean,
that's Jerome was paid for. That's why. Understand that money talks.
Yeah, I get that. I get that money talks. But on the same note, it for me, well, yeah, I see both sides of it. I definitely see both sides of it, because when Jesse comes out, what's Tori then doing? It's like Tori's just. I mean, they could play alongside of each other, I guess, but I don't know how Tori would feel some sort of way about that. Same thing with Jerome. I mean, they've got a guy out there that's doing the Jerome part. I don't remember his name, but you're gonna have two sidemen kind of doing their things,
it's a thing, man.
It's all awkward. It's all right. Awkward.
It's because I mean, while these people are all close, the closer you are to people, sometimes the more contentious your history. It's not just like, hey, it's not always that way. I mean, I think that, what I mean? It's like people presume that because people work together, that they were all just the best of friends and buddies. And I'm telling you, it's, you never know.
Yeah, I mean, because Cassandra,
and not only that, everybody needs to get paid.
Yeah, well, Jerome said, according to Cassandra, Jerome said it was not money, and at the time had not asked him. That's not what he said on Monday. On Monday, it was pretty clear that he was insinuating. I think he did insinuate that they had not asked him, but I think he also was like, it was, But I think Jerome was he was out there taking pictures with people out in the MPG store area. He was being really open and really available to all of the fans. So Jerome that was
the greatest.
He was so amazing. And it was so cool because I wasn't even sure that he even knew who I was. That was actually the first time I actually got to meet him.
Okay.
But he was taking pictures out in the MPG store, and I walked out. and I hear Chris, and I turn around and it's Jerome. And so the dude is just really super cool.
Jerome is
I
the
can't.
greatest, man. He's the greatest. People don't really understand his contribution to all this.
Yeah, I think that's lost on a lot of
the
people.
thread line, man. It's like, don't sleep. He is not just Jerome is many things. He's not just some side guy. He's not some valet, man. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, even his generosity in performing that role, that shows how selfless he is that he put himself into it, knowing that some people might perceive him as being the second banana. He made the most of it. He's one of the people who shines the most in the movie in Purple Rain to me. Like, Jerome has something else. It just I'll stop there, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, he's just real.
The same thing. He's the same person on and off. That's the other thing about Jerome. He's sincere,
Yeah, absolutely. He seemed like really, if you ask him a question, he's going to give you a pretty friggin' straight answer. So I'm kind of at that point where I am going to go ahead and let's go ahead and finish the discussion about the vault. The vault, when I say the vault, I mean the segment, the panel that happened on Saturday afternoon at the Lofton Hotel, which was right across the street from where they were having the block party. We're not right across the street, like a block down and right over from where they had the block party at. And it was a panel that included Londell McMillan, Charles Spicer, and of course Prince's nephew Johnny Nelson Jr. and of Prince Legacy LLC. I guess that portion of it, right? That's Prince Legacy LLC. Yeah, I think that's right. And then Zach Hotchkeppel, and I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing his name correctly, but I'm pretty sure that's how it is. It's Hochkeppel, Hotchkeppel.
Some days I'm glad my name is Bland. 5 letters. That's it. No pronunciation issues. Bland.
Yeah, my last name is Horton, and if you've ever read a Dr. Seuss book, it's pretty easy to remember. I hear all kinds of shit, and it's not a who. So, and Zach Hotchkeppel is a marketing vice president for Sony Music, and they are the ones who own the distribution rights to about half of Prince's catalog. Nobody from Primary Wave was there, which to me was a little unusual, or maybe just somebody couldn't make it. It could be anything.
I thought I heard that somebody from Sony was there, though. Were they?
Yeah, it was. That's him, Zach Hotchkeppel. He was he's the marketing VP of Sony. Yeah.
I missed that for some reason.
And again, if you're just joining us, a lot of people have asked me about the two, I won't call them shout outs, but the two references to Mr. Funkatopia that happened during it. I'll briefly talk about the vault thing and kind of give you a little bit. I don't have to give you a background story on the other stuff because we already talked about 2 of the mentions. And I don't even know what the third mention was about because I was in the middle of writing something. But I believe that he was saying something to the effect of, no matter what we do, there's always going to be, podcasters out there. They're going to be critiquing us something. Isn't that right, Mr. Funkatopia? And I think I was just writing. And of course, I wish that I had the ability to kind of record it. It is recorded. There were like multiple cameras there. And so it is recorded. So you have to pardon me because I do have to paraphrase because basically I do not write well when I write fast. This kind of gives you an idea of like the chicken scratch because I'm just like, and I took drafting in high school, which forever screwed me because I write at all caps, like all the time. Now, when I'm obviously in letters and stuff like that, I don't do it. I don't do it in chat rooms and things, but
I'm a caps guy too. And somebody finally told me, an email I had written to my wife that was all in caps. It was a list of something. She thought I was upset. She said, "Why are you so angry?" I said, "What are you talking about? I was just being official." Then somebody else told me, "No, all caps implies anger. You're not supposed to do that." I said, "I just feel like it's a different level of classification. I don't know why. It's like visually it means business to me."
Yeah. Well, and also shout out to Rodney Fitzgerald. I see him in the chat room here too. One other thing, one thing. Yes, Mabel, you're right. Mr. Funkatopia is better than Mr. Christopher because it has the name of Funkatopia. Yeah, so
Yeah, we more know now.
yeah, he might be doing you a favor. Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
He did.
he's trying to put some respect on your name.
By not calling me my name. It's okay. It's all right because if somebody he said Mr. Christopher, nobody would have known. Only people Funkatopians would have known.
Have you? Can I just have
Sure.
you seen this footage of Birdman on the Breakfast Club when he comes on mad because one of them has been talking? This is years ago. Have you seen it where he comes on and puts some respect on my name?
Yeah.
And he says, "Are we done? Are we finished?" And he gets up and he takes his posse out of the. Man.
Yes, I have seen that. I have seen.
I'm sorry.
That.
That's all. No particular. No point. No nothing. I saw it recently. I was like, wow. Why was he so mad?
Yeah, some of these stuff is like could be really like these podcasts that actually do it with people live, especially when you're doing it in hip hop and rap. So many things can go sideways if you accidentally say something or you. It's just
what I don't get is I don't get being confrontational and then not repeating what it is you heard. Just like you know what you said. You know, you heard me. Like that's not really a discussion. You just All
right, so. Let's get back to the ball thing. Yeah, all good. So one of the things that I think Londell wanted to kind of make clear in this vault meeting was talking about the order of overseers that were in place before them, and the fact that they really haven't been in the position that they're in right now as far as controlling some pieces and whatnot. They had some, but he wanted to make sure that everybody knew that the first one was obviously Bremer Trust, and then he talked about Comerica, and there were some decisions about when the music was moved from Paisley Park over to, and I'm talking about things that they discussed in this vault meeting, which I got permission to talk about because they made us lock up our phones, which seems to insinuate that they don't want this information getting outside the walls. But if you go on Twitter, there's so much stuff that's out there right now already. It's already out there. So I did ask Johnny, I said, can I talk about the things that are out there? Because it's already out there. I'm just kind of like encapsulating it and this way.
Sure.
And he was like, yeah, it's fine. It's out there. There's nothing wrong with that. So it's fine. So he was talking about Bremer Trust. He was talking about Comerica. He was also talking about the fact that Comerica was the one that moved all of the music over to Iron Mountain over there. But they did it in the dead of night. So, so like the family and the other people that were in the, in those positions of the estate or whatever you want to call it, weren't even aware that had happened. So they sued Comerica as a result for, I guess, I don't know if they sued because of the fact that to kind of send a message that you cannot do things like this without clearing it through us first, because this is his legacy. That music, those videos, all that stuff is his legacy. That is the audio, the video, everything. You can't just pick all that up and take it all the way across the country without letting all the people that have a duck in this hunt.
That's a lot of money moving.
That's
a lot of people need to. Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah. So I completely see it now. Now that it has been over there, they have said that they agree that it needed to be someplace safe where it could be appropriately archived, appropriately digitized and all that stuff, and in a safer place than a room that was the vault at Paisley Park, which was not anything that was properly maintained, and they had all this stuff. All the stories about all the crazy media, the 8mm tape that was already degrading and stuff that was just
there was that happening. I mean, around the time that that the B-sides came out, there was they were discovering this already in the vault. They were seeing that some of the tapes hadn't aged well. So there's a process you go through where you put them in a kiln,
right?
You bake the tapes and you take them out. You see what you got,
Right.
I heard that the reel-to-reel for for the Tears in Your Eyes was like the worst one they had found, and they somehow, they restored it.
I wonder if that is why. No, I can't be it. That song has always had that sound to it, like it's a lower 5 version of anything else.
You could be right. Yeah, I don't disagree. Like there's a different tone to it, like it sounds different. I know what you mean.
Yeah, it just doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't sound as crisp and clear. But even back in the day. But I don't know if maybe what I'm listening to is a revision of that or not. I mean, I don't think I ever owned the original version of that, because that was on the We Are the World soundtrack, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was on that soundtrack. I did not own that. But anyways, but one thing that did get a gasp out of the audience was that Charles Spicer indicated that only 45% of everything what are we looking at? We're looking at it's been 7 years since that music was moved, somewhere around there. Okay. Just pardon me if that time is not exactly correct. It's 10 years. It'll be 10 years next year since passing, but it was 2 years, I think, after he passed when they moved all that stuff.
I'll bet you they're barely halfway.
Only 45% of it is completed.
There you go.
45% is completed. Yeah. That's crazy to me, because, and that's not stuff that's released. That's 45% that they've managed to digitize. They've managed to kind of get it archived.
Sure.
I mean,
I get the reason they were in such a hurry,
sure.
But you can't just do as you feel with other people's intellectual property. That's crazy to me.
Right. So and they're having to deal with all those old formats like 8-track cassettes and videotape and just kind of move it over to modern technology, and that whole thing is just. I get it. Yeah. And the guy that was there from Sony, Zach Hotchkill, the Sony guy, mentioned some important takeaways as well, as far as their particular part of it. First off, they were saying he said there were many thousands of assets, unreleased and undocumented, that were in there. It is just unreal. And they were talking about the time that it takes. Actually, Rodney just said that too. The time that it takes just for like vinyl releases. For those I'm not going to go into this, but the vinyl process is when they make a vinyl, they have to send out 10 test pressings. And you have to listen to all 10 of those test pressings for anything like a pop, a hiss, a skip, or anything. Mm-hmm. And if any of them have it, that whole process has to start all over again. And so that's the reason why vinyl pressings take so much longer and so much more to do. And if you look at some of, and I do have this over here. Let's see if I can pull it out without killing myself. But like, just so we're clear, and I do have some of the box sets obviously behind me, but all the box sets that are here that they've sold, just to be clear, I have all of them. Every single one that they've released, I have them. I have the box sets. I keep them in a case so they make sure they're all protected and everything. And on top of that, I've got the prints and the Sign of the Times ones over there. I have 1999 when I got on CD, because that was just, phenomenal. But the amount of time that it goes to put all those things together, because all of those box sets that I just showed have tons of input from research and people, and again, the fact checking and making sure that anything you say as far as the stories are concerned, getting the clearance for the photography, and again, the whole process of doing it is a bear. It's a nightmare. It's a friggin' nightmare. And so I get it. I totally get it. I understand what the process is. And we're going to we are going to take a look back just for a second. Actually, while we're here, I want to go ahead and talk about this, because a lot of people were talking about, okay, but they haven't released anything in forever. It's insane. It doesn't. Why are we having to wait so long? Let me just go ahead and say, in defense of the estate, which has not been Londell and Charles the whole time, thank you very much. The people that are pulling some of the strings, you guys, I understand. I totally understand, as a Purple Head, as a Prince head, like Michael is, like I am. We lived and breathed everything that had to do with Prince, not only just the music, but all the offshoots and everything. We were all in that when it was happening. And the problem is that I think that we kind of got spoiled for sure in a lot of different ways as a result of, you know, the level of things that they released. For instance, since Prince has passed, and I created this graphic, I was like, do I have time to create this graphic? And I said, screw it, I'm creating this graphic. Here is a graphic of everything that was released since he's been gone. And let me just talk about this really, really quick. So y'all can screen capture this if you want to. There's been a ton of releases. So you guys need to please just take a minute. Take a minute. First off, the Netflix thing that was happening, they had a lot of things that they could not release anything with videos and whatnot. And considering that we now know that the Parade box set is going to be coming next year, and he made mention that the video stuff was tied up with that Netflix deal, which would lead you to believe that the Parade box set is going to come with Under the Cherry Moon. That's not that. I got to put my rumor and conjecture.
Don't say another word. Put the thing up, man.
I got to put the rumor and conjecture up thing here. We're not endorsed or affiliated with Prince, Paisley Parker Estate. This is all rumor and conjecture. But if you're trying to marry some pieces together, he was specifically talking about video being tied to the Netflix deal, and it kind of freed them up to be able to do a little bit more things. And with a box set of Parade coming out, it's the only thing that makes sense as the add-on to that would be Under the Cherry Moon, which that is the soundtrack for.
It's got to be.
It's
got to be planning something magnanimous.
That's the only thing that friggin' makes sense. But let's talk about what you guys are looking at here on this. First off, in 2016, you had the Forever album that gave you that new track, Forever. Okay, that was just the year that he passed. Everybody was still reeling. Yeah. Everybody that was attached to this, it was probably a bear and a nightmare and a little bit of a struggle just to release that, because you kind of felt like you got to do something, you know, but it still just felt like, here you go, you know, the type of thing.
Yeah.
But then you guys, Prince fans have been blessed. If you look at the estate for Michael Jackson, or even the estate for Elvis, or the estate for any of this stuff, you Prince fans have been blessed. Purple Rain Deluxe came out in 2017 that had 11 unreleased tracks, plus a DVD of Prince and the Revolution live. Also the anthology album, which I forgot to put on here, the anthology albums too. And of course, that box set for oops, this is gonna fall. This box set for live was also released later on as well. That also came out posthumously. Plus, you had Prince Piano and a Microphone in 1983 that had 9 previously unreleased tracks. Then you had the re-release of 1985's, which was a Japan-only release of His Majesty's Pop Life Purple Mix Club. That's there. The re-release of the Versace Experience, Prelude to Gold, which was originally that promotional cassette that they had out for, was it Paris Fashion Week, I think it was?
Yeah. Then
you had Originals, which was 16 unreleased tracks of Prince performing songs that he had given to other artists. Then you had 1999 Super Deluxe Edition with 18 B-sides, extended versions, and edits from the 1999 area, 24 previously unreleased songs from the 1999 era, a CD with The Late Show from December 1st in Detroit, Michigan from the 1999 tour, and a DVD of the Houston concert from December 29th in 1982. Then in 2020, he had that whole makeup line that was done through Urban Decay. You had that digital re-release of Prince and the Revolutions Live, which I just showed you, that came out in the VHS, but also had books in it and all kinds of, there was like a bunch of stuff inside. I don't want to go into all that. That's just insane. And then Sign of the Times Super Deluxe Edition. I believe it was a Super Deluxe Edition. It was a remastered original album that had a CD with 13 B-sides, extended versions, and edits. 3 more discs from the Sign of the Times era with 45 previously unreleased songs.
Yeah.
45 plus a 2-hour and 15-minute DVD release of the concert from 1987. Paisley Park Studios, that you were on that one. Now that one, that release that came out later, you were on that other one too. That show from Glam Slam.
Yeah. Right.
And then right. And then the Paisley. They also had Paisley Park Studios at a New Year's Eve show in that Sign of the Times Deluxe Edition, Super Deluxe, or whatever.
Where Miles Davis sits in, right?
Right, exactly. That New Year's Eve show. And then the promo videos for Sign of the Times, You Got the Look, and I Could Never Take the Place of the Man. Then in 2021, the team got together and put together Welcome to America as it was last configured. So again, 12 previously unreleased tracks. And if that wasn't enough, Diamonds and Pearls Deluxe Edition and Super Deluxe Edition had the remastered album, a disc of remastered B-sides and remixes, 3 CDs of 43 previously unreleased vault tracks. This is different from the 45s what I just talked about. A full show of live audio from January 11th from the Glam Slam, the one that you were on. A Blu-ray release of that same show, and from 1991 July, the Special Olympics performance, along with the video of the sound check, and of course that whole Diamonds and Pearls video collection that was only available on VHS before. And just to mention those, just between Sign of the Times Super Deluxe, Diamonds and Pearls Deluxe, and Welcome to America, that is over 100 songs just in those collections, just with those releases. That in itself is more songs than most artists put out in their entire career. It's insane. And not even you had the single for Silver Tongue. I think I have got some on here. Single for Silver Tongue. It's hard to say. Single for Magnificent. Single for United States of Division. The shoe exhibit thing that they did, that they had set up. The single for Welcome to America on gold vinyl, which I have 3 of these, actually. I have 3 of these. Plus, they also did, I'm not even sure if you've ever seen this one. I might have to make myself big on this. Have you ever seen, this is one that they gave out at a celebration. Was it 2 celebrations ago? But you're on the back cover.
Oh, wow. What's on it?
This is Diamonds and Pearls live at Glam Slam, and Nothing Compares to You live at Glam Slam. This was a special edition one that they had given out to celebration attendees.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I think in this, and their number too. This is number 246, and I don't know. I can't remember what color this is, but I don't remember what color it is. If somebody has opened it, then that is it. That is what it is. Yeah. But yeah, I actually have 3 of these, so I might have to give a couple of these away in a drawing. Plus, not even to mention all the Party Man. They had a purple vinyl release of Party Man. This past week, they did an acoustic version of Free that they just put on Spotify. You had all these crazy magazine drops that literally had, this was the Rolling Stone from Germany. This one had an album drop in it with Witness for the Prosecution and Sign of the Times. That was a special on Rolling Stone Germany. So, not on top of that, then you got a Broadway production that's coming this year, multiple documentaries apparently in the works, the Jukebox musical being worked on by Ryan Coogler, and the celebration and stuff itself. You folks need to take a break.
Well, here's the thing, though.
Yeah, I get it, but just kind of let's take a beat.
They need to cool out maybe just a little bit, but you know how it is.
There's a
lot. I mean, you're just considering how much time it's been, and they've only, there's only they're not even halfway finished, just preserving everything that Prince did. So, yep. I mean, it's the fact that we know there's so much. It's the fact that there's so much to hear and so much to see. But also, I mean, you got to be fair. Most of the stuff you brought up was released under Co-America.
Right. Correct. Yeah. I'm seeing, but that's not the point of it. Wasn't the point of it? Wasn't who's doing what. It was just a lot to kind of over. It's what you've already been getting.
There is the output. Yes.
And the primary issue was that most of the stuff was tied up with that whole Netflix thing. So that was, and now that is gone, now that that's squashed, they're in a position now where the pieces that were tied up that would have kind of accentuated some of the stuff. Yes. And I saw somebody mention the Symbol album, and the Symbol album, there was actually a picture of the Symbol album pressed already, wrapped in the wrap. And I guess that was a Comerica one too, but it wasn't, it was just a remastered vinyl. I don't think that there was any extra tracks on it.
Okay.
Not that there couldn't have expanded on it, but it was a I guess I don't know. But I saw the cover. Matter of fact, I had a picture of the cover somewhere. But yeah, so that exists. But whether or not, I saw somebody also mention that there was at one point in time, probably a couple of years ago, maybe, if that, there was a photo that was floating around of a box set for Around the World in a Day that somebody had already created or put together. It wasn't like iRecords or anything like that. It wasn't one of the bootleggers. It was somebody that just wanted to, I guess, conceptualize what it would look like or whatever. And it got a lot of rotation and people were freaking out and posting it all. It was just, it was all over. So, anyway,
did anybody ever find out who posted, who put that out there?
I don't know that. There was a guy that was claiming, I see my photo is back in circulation again. I don't remember who it was.
I guess how would you know? These
days,
can...
Voss Christian, I know you would know. Do you remember who released that, who created that, or what the source of that? What the source of that whole picture was? It was actually pretty cool. It was actually a pretty cool looking box set. It may be able to glean some ideas from it, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is there is a box set for Around the World in a Day, an actual one, a real one, that will be coming out this year, is what he said. And then next year will be the box set for Parade, belly button and all. That will be next year. So we'll be taking that. So anyways, we all have an insatiable desire for new music, especially from him. We've already kind of got a lot of it. And I think there was, even when Londell and Charles came into the picture, it's like, oh, well, when they came on, everything kind of came to a screeching halt. And I don't think that's necessarily true. There was, when they stepped in, I honestly don't know what's true and what's not. We still got that scroll going across the bottom of the screen, don't we? Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know what's true and what's not.
I'll pull you back from the brink, man. Don't worry.
Okay, all right, good, thank you. I need that. I need somebody watching out for me. Somebody watching out for Mr. Funkatopia. So yeah, the truth of the matter is, I think that when they came in, there was a lot for them to work through. They were the ones that had to go into place and set Comerica right with the whole moving of the music and kind of doing all this other stuff and just kind of getting things in order from a legal perspective to protect the IP, protect those pieces, the components that make up Prince's legacy. And I think there was just a lot of shit going on, and they really had to go in and kind of work through all that. I'm not defending them or anything. I mean, I kind of am because I can't imagine what it's like to oversee or kind of be in charge of kind of handling all these things when it's, especially when there's podcasters out here like us and
he's the most prolific artist in history. It's not
right.
It's not going to be an easy task for anybody. So I think we're better to give them a little bit more grace. Right. I agree with that. I mean, and also they have a lot to catch up to because Comerica set it off. So give them some, some runway, to try to sort it out.
Yeah. They just, I think that, I think they need to have a little bit more. We need to provide, I know there's a lot of people out there like, screw that. I think we need to have a little bit more grace and just kind of be like, okay. And especially now that he has said that the music is freed up now. They even did that post on Twitter. The vault is free or whatever it was. I think that was the phrasing of it. Which means that music is now there. Now they can get to work with what you guys want. And it's just been a whole difficult and arduous process. And again, I hats off to, what they've been able to do. But some of the other things that they were saying, just trying to make sure I don't skip anything. Again, if you're just tuning in, I did make the mention of that when he was referring to the whole anniversaries thing, is that we're not going to be chasing a bunch of anniversaries, even though he said there's anniversaries every single year. We can't chase every single one of them.
Prince put out almost a record a year for ever.
Right. And again, the point of me showing that was not to tick them off and go, oh, wait, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. That was not the point of it. The point of showing it, the point of showing that was simply because of the fact that these are all opportunities that exist. And he's talking about, so here's some other important things that he brought up that I think a lot of people are going to want to hear. One of the things that they're going to be, I'm trying to see what this is. Some of the things that he dropped. He said, and this is actually a quote that Ikea Cerrone had written down for me. 2026 will include the release of the biggest collaboration in the vault. That was a quote. I can't think of what the biggest collaboration would be. I know he mentioned Kendrick, and he even said in the thing that Kendrick is in the vault. Yes, Kendrick is in the vault, but it's Kendrick freestyling over "What's My Name" at Paisley Park. That video has been on circulation. Is on circulation in YouTube. But according to Kendrick Lamar, I think it was during an interview that he did on Howard Stern. I think he had mentioned that was the only thing they did. Okay. Because Howard Stern loves Prince, and anytime there's any artist on there that had any story, as any Prince story, he was just like, tell me about Prince. So, and Kendrick had said that was the only thing. He was just kind of sitting off to the side, and that, and he was called out to do that, and he had to freestyle over "What's My Name." But that's the only thing that he said was there. But if there's more, fantastic. Let's hear it. Another thing that Londell said would be coming would be a vinyl release of Hit and Run Phase 1 and Phase 2 that was previously only available on CD. He also said that would be there as well. He had made mention, and I kind of want your perspective on this because I don't know the story of all the ins and outs regarding record labels and who does what and who was involved where. I mean, obviously the Warner Brothers era was the most identifiable because he was in that for a very long period of time. But Londell said, or was it Londell or Charles? I don't remember. It may have been Charles, but one of them said that albums that were made in 1994 and beyond were more difficult because there were two labels involved with that material. I don't know this. I don't understand the specifics of that comment. Do you have any?
Wait a minute. This is,
as far as releases are concerned, it makes it harder or more difficult to do releases from 1994 moving forward because there's two labels involved. And I don't know what he meant by that. Does anybody know what he meant by that?
I mean, I wonder if it's just NPG Records. And I mean,
do they not have control of NPG Records?
Warner Brothers?
No, I mean, well, oh no, I see what you're saying. I mean, well, I'm just saying the estate oversees MPG Records, right? So wouldn't they be?
I gather, I mean, is my question? I think at this point is like, is there still even a Paisley Park Records?
Paul's thinking I'm incorrect in that it was 2004. I'm pretty sure he said 1994, but I could have been a half a gummy in. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it was 1994. And as somebody said, 1994 was Sony moving forward on some stuff, I guess, for the emancipation part. And
I mean, he certainly diversified, starting with as far back as 93 or 94 with Edel. Was like they might have been the distribution.
Rico says Sony has the right here. Sony has the rights after 94 in the US and Warner Brothers outside the US. So that's where some of the okay, there it is. Rico, thank you. That sounds legit, but again, it's all rumor and conjecture unless you hear official word from an official source.
That's right.
We just talking. And Vas Christian says MPG Records got publishing deals with say Universal with musicology. Maybe they still have a say in it. It could be. Yeah. So there was that part of it. And he also mentioned the way that they were going to be releasing, he being Londell mentioned that the way that they were going to be doing releases would be a big box set type of release for in a period of a year. Or I don't know how often or frequency of it. I don't know. Big box set release, then like a smaller release, like maybe like a digital remastering of something with maybe some, tracks,
Sure.
and then consistent drips throughout the year on YouTube and Spotify and stuff like that. So, like for instance, the drip that they just did for the acoustic version of Free that they just did this past week. So little things like that.
Okay.
And they insinuated, I think it was Charles who insinuated that maybe some of those first drips are going to be some of those unreleased tracks that the VIP folks heard, which we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss those unreleased tracks, so we'll discuss that. But so it was just insinuated. I don't know if that's what they will be or not. But the estate also actually wants to put out a release schedule so that everybody has proper expectations, kind of like they used to do back in the day. They used to say, this is what's coming out now, this is what's coming out then, and this is so they actually have a schedule. So no offense at all, but I'll believe that when I see it, because that is a difficult thing to kind of commit to, because so many times dates get slipped, and when you put something out there like that where it says, hey, you said this would be out in July, and here it is July, and it's not out. I don't think they want to hear that shit. And I think they're already kind of, yeah, right. Who does? So I think they just want to kind of move past all that stuff. But anyways, they also said they want to set up a marketing street team as well. They want to set up a marketing street team. And probably the biggest news that he unveiled on the stage, in my opinion, was that they are planning on reviving the NPG Music Club.
Well, all right. Yes.
Now, whether or not that is concrete, they did say it's nothing concrete right now, but they said they are investigating the technology, the providers, and the execution of it, but that they're listening and they're moving accordingly. So I think they're kind of, I would say, if I had to guess, again, rumor and conjecture, I would say if I had to guess, they're in the discovery phase of this, because if they do it, they have to do it right, because again, they're not going to want to hear all this type of, I think it's just big. Mm-hmm. And as far as like what they, moving the music to the future, the kids that are out there right now, there was a couple things that they had talked about, and they kind of got votes. They kind of felt like there was about 500 to 600 people in that room. I didn't know what the number was, but I had heard it was, according to John Bream's article that he did at the Star Tribune, he was saying almost 600 is what he said. So somewhere between 500 and 600 people were in that room. Pretty good sample audience, but the only problem with that sample audience is that they are not, they're folks like us who are older. They're all Prince heads. They all paid a lot of money to be sitting in that room. So it's kind of skewed a little bit. But one of the things that they wanted to mention is he asked whether or not they thought it was a good idea to hand some music over to like producers, new producers, existing producers, stuff like that, to have them do remixes, whether it be unfinished music or music that already exists, doing remixes and stuff. And, like what they did with Tom's Diner with Suzanne Vega stuff, where it's kind of like just kind of creating this type of stuff. That's kind of what I was assuming that they were referring to as far as getting some remixes done and doing some stuff. And most people said no. Most people were like, no, we don't. It's kind of like, we want to make sure that it doesn't get twisted and it doesn't get blah, 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 blah. We want it to make sure that it stays as close to what, Prince had intended in the beginning. And okay, we get that. That's fine. But the other side of that is that there was a 22-year-old in the audience. My apologies, I don't know her name. Her name is mentioned in the John Bream article, but she got up and she said, I'll be honest with you guys, I like Prince, but the only way that you're really, truly going to be able to reach the audience for pretty much the demographic that you guys are trying to reach would be to put that music in, allow Prince's music to be utilized in hip hop. It's obviously worked for many, many people over the years. And Prince's music has been in hip hop songs before. It was in Arrested Development's Tennessee. It was in what else was in Pac's Life? That was from Tupac. That was a spin on Pop Life. Digital Underground. What's Up with the Love? That was, I guess, that was from Ballad of Dorothy Parker. That was, so there's songs that were out there that his music has been used before. And I don't necessarily think that that's a bad idea. Everybody was just like, no, no, no. But I think they took offense because at one point in time, she called everybody in the room old heads. So,
yes, that's
way to work the crowd there. Way to work the crowd.
Well, and the fact that she had that little blind spot. You have to remember, man, it takes a minute for the brain to get fully formed.
Right.
Would it take
Right.
25? You got to be 25, 26 before the brain is actually like all the.
I would say 30. I would say 30, 35 is probably when you start
to 30.
Yeah, when
hey, listen, she made a common mistake that young people make. You know, that's okay.
Yeah,
She's
so
to her opinion.
Yeah, so
and she's probably right, actually.
Right. Yeah, so there's that. So there was a lot of good moments overall in the vault thing, and so that's cool. I agree that there's a lot there.
Here's the other problem, man, I'm realizing is that everybody knows what's, like somebody said, when are we going to get Rebels? That's the problem. You know about stuff that you can't get your hands on. That's
yeah,
what it is. That's
and I don't even know.
Sense of anxiety. It's out there, and I haven't heard it. I know about this thing. I heard a bootleg once. Then they do it to themselves. They do it to themselves, man.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, and first off, I don't know if there's that big of. I mean, yes, Rebels is cool and it's very rock. Very. That's Margie Cox on those vocals on Rebels, right?
I have no idea.
I think it is. Yeah, but anyways.
My understanding is that Margaret didn't meet Prince until around when I did, but
which was
1989, 88, late 88, after the Love Sexy tour.
Was it Margie? I can't even remember.
Probably not.
Somebody who was doing the lead vocals on the Rebels? For some reason, I'm drawing a blank. Gail Chapman. Thank you.
There you go.
Gail Chapman. So yeah, because that was a very loud and brash album. But is there a market for that? This is not. I mean, this is like a rock album that's kind of along the lines of, and it's very raw. So that's the other thing the estate has to do too. Like even with all these anniversaries of albums coming up, they have to assess. Okay, if we make this, we get it. The Prince heads are going to buy it, but then who else? Because
all right.
Who else is going to do this? Because you have to be able to kind of move out from that. But I don't
customize for your diehards. You can't do it.
Yeah, and what's the answer? I mean, what's the answer to that? It's just it's crazy. So
yeah, exactly.
But since we're talking,
it's still a business. I guess Rodney is the representative we have with us this evening.
Right. Yeah.
I keep seeing him. He keeps correcting our path, and that's cool.
I think we got that clip.
This is a business, and you ain't too far gone to see that yet.
Oh man!
One more time for you people that didn't hear it.
This is a business, and you ain't too far gone to see that yet.
Oh my God!
Oh Lord!
So it's coming. There's a lot of stuff that's coming. So speaking of which, this is a good segue. So that's the vault area. Everybody kind of felt like
all you can do is wait. Really? Yeah. What is anybody else gonna do?
So the takeaways from the vault, obviously the big takeaways: Around the World a Day box set coming this year, Parade box set coming next year. There's going to be able to do a lot more because the music got freed up with the Netflix stuff. MPG Music Club is something that they are in a discovery phase of, trying to figure out all this technology and whatnot. And if everything goes, there's no reason why, because they were given from what they indicated, a blueprint from Prince from exactly how that's supposed to work. And there's no reason why it can't work, because MPG Music Club has already existed when the technology was total garbage.
Oh yeah.
And it took, so he would put like an hour's worth of the hour radio show, the MPG audio shows that he would put out there that would be an hour long. And you basically had to, click download and then walk away and then go make a sandwich and, relax and maybe watch a movie. And maybe you might be halfway done. Now there's no reason why the technology is there. It's just a matter of just having the proper distribution system, the proper security and access to all those different things, and just make it work. It's got to be,
that might be the place. I agree with Michael Tidwell. That might be the place for all the diehards to go. If you want, and maybe they can adjust their pricing. Maybe they can, consider, different packaging, like not less expensive, but just something alternative. They need to have a different place for the diehards to go.
Right.
Because they have to maintain, you gotta design stuff to move the world. You can't just design to move a city.
Yeah, understood. Yeah, I mean that's fair enough. I mean, you can't conform to everybody, and on top of that, as I said, there's, and I'm going into one of your headspaces, Michael, where you get thought in your head and you're like, shit, I don't even know where to even go with this, because that's the problem. The issue is how do you get that new music even when you release it, like these box sets, the Round the World. Okay, I can see the Round the World box set and the Parade box set has a marketing capability because they have a bunch of hits on them. And if you were a fan of those best-selling albums, you might be persuaded to pick that up, especially if it's got like a few dozen new tracks on it and some remixes of songs you love and whatnot.
Sure.
But what happens when you get to those albums that didn't have those types of sales numbers? How do you get those albums into the hands of those people beyond this bubble? You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's what do you do? Like,
I mean, even if you're just talking about the basic tenets of business, it's like you can't have that much variety to begin with. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you got to figure out like what's gonna work best all the way around.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not Burger King. You can't just have it your way.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So again, the other takeaway was, as I said, as far as the process, it was going to be a box set, a smaller type of release, like a remastering or whatever, and then the constant drips. Well, maybe. What might those constant drips might be? And he insinuated that some of those drips may be some of these unreleased tracks that they played for VIP. So let's talk about these unreleased tracks for VIP.
Well, before you say that, somebody went out of their way to tell me, listen, we all want new music. If you're just going to, reserve it for the VIPs only, I don't know if you're doing yourself a disservice or not. There's got to be a way for them to address like there has to be an economy to things. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? Again, it's easy to bring this stuff up. Having answers is a whole other situation.
Yeah. And apologies to Mabel if you think that we're bouncing around. What's ended up happening is I kind of wanted to make sure that we're talking about things in a certain flow as kind of who's got the most requests. Most people wanted to know about the vault stuff, so we kind of covered some of that. But I'm trying to kind of put things in batches, so I'm trying to make it the most palpable as I possibly can to smush 4 days worth of information into what's looking like it's going to be a 3-hour show. So that's basically what. Yeah. So apologies to Mabel or anybody else that feels that we're kind of bouncing around. And
we are bouncing around.
Well, and we have to kind of hit on some of these points too, and kind of discuss some of the things that they're talking about and what our perspective is. Anyways, all right. So let's talk about the unreleased tracks that they played. I was not there. Only had press media access, so I did not have VIP access. I only had GA access. So once again, a shout out to Ikea Saron, who gave me the songs that were played, along with a little small description. And I'm going to read the descriptions as she put them on here, because again, I didn't hear the songs. Some of these songs I've already heard. Ain't No Way was, and I think these are not in alphabetical order. Ain't No Way was the first unreleased track that they played for them. And she has indicated Lindrum, guitar, and falsetto. So assuming it's just him kind of experimenting, putting a song together, sets a drum track, and he plays guitar, and he's doing his falsetto thing. Doesn't really say if it's really a fast song or a slow song, but the song is called Ain't No Way. They also played the acoustic version of Free that all of you should have heard by now. It's already on all of those. It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. It's everywhere now, so you should have heard it. It is pretty incredible. That was a recording from 2008, an acoustic version that he did. A Couple Miles. You're familiar with that song, right? That's. Didn't you say you were working with someone? Oh, no, you did a letter to Miles. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was like,
and this one actually, and if I looked at the date, I would have avoided looking like an ass right now, because it does say 1985, and that predates you being involved with Prince.
Yeah, and I was looking like a phony going, yeah.
Oh yeah. I wrote that shit.
Yes, I wrote that. Yeah, that's my cousin, man. You know how many dudes in my life?
We go way back.
Yeah, man. I wrote head, man. Andre was over at the house one day. You know how many like North Side brother stories I've heard like that? Yeah, man.
It was raining outside. His shoes got all wet. I gave him a brand new pair of
road head. Prince was in my mom's kitchen, right? And he was drinking some orange juice. And
oh my god. Anyways, so A Couple Miles. That one is actually, you can actually find most of these songs, not most of them. Sorry enough that you can say you can go online and you can actually find some of these, because some of these are kind of dripped out. Now, they were definitely not the quality that they just got played with VIP, but A Couple Miles has been out there in kind of the community for a little bit.
Okay.
Turn Me Loose. Not sure which one was played, because there's been a couple versions of Turn Me Loose that I've heard out there from various sources, but she assumes that it was a studio version that they heard, but on the same note, Turn Me Loose, when I heard it, was a live performance of that song when he played it on Jay Leno on the Tonight Show's Jay Leno's Tonight Show. So you can actually go on YouTube and search for Prince Tonight Show Turn Me Loose, and you can see the live version of that song being played from April of 2008. So that was one they played. Shades of Umber, obviously for any bootleg aficionados. I do not consider myself an aficionado, but I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot. And I also know that you fine folks have probably heard more than I have, but folks that know me know that I have quite a bit. But Shades of Umber, we've all heard the Montreux version of that. It's been out for a long time, but this was the studio version of that song, which I would have loved to have heard. But Montreux's version it was that energy. That's especially that. I mean, that's. Are you familiar with Shades of Umber? Oh my god!
I'll go look.
You need to look that up. It's an instrumental. It's
okay.
But it's this. Just I can't even begin to even explain it. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Call of the Wild, which many people it used to be called, and people still call it 9 to 5 People. That bootleg has been out in the ether for a long time, but it's called 9 to 5 People online, but the true name of that song is Call of the Wild. It's kind of a mid-tempo rock song. Call the Wild from My Lover Child. Basically, they found it on a cassette in the vault from, what is the date here? July 23rd, 1985. Then they had A Question of You. We obviously know that song, but this was an instrumental jazz version, up-tempo, opens with guitar, Prince on drums, and it just happened, that version happened to be on a 1985 cassette, which, when did 1990 was when Question to You came out, right? Because that was on Graffiti Bridge.
Yep.
Yeah, so that it was 5 years earlier. Question of You. It was on the same cassette as that 9 to 5. Well, 9 to 5 people called a while, whatever. Same cassette.
He played that for me. Actually, I was while we were sort of being courted.
Really?
Billy Franzi and Margaret Cox and I think Melanie Rosales was with us. We went out to Paisley, and Prince just wanted to play us some music, and one of the things he played was The Question of You, and I was like, whoa! Like, and then it hit me. I'm like, oh wow, you really are into Santana. Like, I get it.
But do you see Mabel's question here saying, can Michael B add anything to Ain't No Way since apparently you were on the drums on it? Now, according to what IKEA said, she said there were Lynn drums on the recording that they heard. But do you remember this song? I know you've probably done hundreds of songs and they end up being called something and shifted and you don't even know the finished product.
I mean, if I had to guess, I would guess that it was, we played Ain't No Way, the Aretha Franklin, I think her sister wrote it, but the Aretha Franklin song, Ain't No Way, during the Nude tour. So I can only imagine it's maybe Prince was like, let's try cutting a version.
Right. And that's what it is too. Yeah.
If there's Lynn drums on it, I couldn't tell you.
Right. Correct. I imagine you.
I don't remember it happening. If that's what she's asking, I don't even remember it happening. So I guess I'm presuming she, just because it says Mabel, but whoever you are, Mabel, I don't even remember recording it.
Then there's a song called Beat Town that was recorded November 19th, 1986. It was, which is the day after my birthday, not in 1986. My birthday's in 68, but it was pulled from Graffiti Bridge. I guess it used to be on Graffiti Bridge. It was a funk song with horns. She put down some of the lyrics here. Beat Town, get down, strip down, all the way down. That sounds like something Prince would write.
Yeah.
It was pulled off of Graffiti Bridge, Funk with Horn, 1986. Love Never Has to Say Goodbye. I've heard that one before. That one's out in the ether as well. But again, even if you've heard these songs, what they're hearing are crystal, beautiful studio versions of this, not that's, shifted hands and been degradized over the year. I mean, they're hearing amazing versions of this. So to know that these songs may be coming out or maybe being dripped out, as they were saying, is just incredible. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, great. Mm-hmm.
They heard The Ladder from a 1984 rehearsal at the St. Paul Civic Center.
Okay.
And then lastly, they heard in Studio A, they heard a version of Purple Rain on piano with an extra verse. And she wrote down some lyrics. Don't want your money. Don't even think I want your love. I only want to set you free. So I assume it's the same cadences as he was singing the other verses. But it's don't want your money. Don't even think I want your love. I only want to set you free. But anyways, there's this Purple Rain that they got to hear with an extra verse, which is very, very cool. So those were the unreleased tracks. If I was not there. This was sent to me from, thank you again, IKEA Cerrone. I've got to send you something as a thank you for sending me these notes so I could be prepared for the show. So if there's anything that she missed, please make sure to put them in the chat room and we'll take it from there. Also, the VIPs also, you're going to like this, Michael. They viewed a full multicam pro shot of the Gold Experience show from London in 1995.
Wow.
Have you've probably never even seen that, have you?
We didn't watch a lot. It's and he really didn't show us that much unless it was of a corrective nature. Like, do you hear what you did? Yeah, don't do that again. There's a lot of that.
Right.
After rehearsal or after gig, watching the show and that transition needs to be tighter. When you hear me do this, do that. Like a lot. I mean, it was usually for work purposes. It wasn't for posterity or like enjoyment.
Yeah, the cool thing about it is that kind of like how Glam Slam caught everybody by surprise, because there was a lot of people that didn't even know that that really existed, or if they knew that it existed, they hadn't seen it. And when it got dropped, it was just like, whoa, holy crap, this is friggin' killer. The Glam Slam show with you guys doing the I guess whatever.
What is that? Like a Endorphin Machine and Break Shush and Now and Most Beautiful Girl in the World and
yeah, it had all that stuff.
That.
They had the full concert. It was released on the Diamonds and Pearls. I think it was on the Diamonds and Pearls box set. It was part of that.
Oh, you're talking about that? Okay, I got it. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just. I mean that stuff is incredible. So I mean, to know that this exists and may possibly see a release is fantastic. That would be something I would imagine. Oh, let me before I get away, because there was one thing I missed from the Vault conversation, and that was that guy Zach had mentioned. Did I skip over the Zach stuff? Let me make sure, because there was a couple things that he had mentioned that I think I may have gone away from. Zach, who was the guy from Hotchkiss, I think is his name. He mentioned that they were going to be focused on, or not focused, but that they were planning on releasing some concert stuff on, and I guess maybe documentaries too. I don't know. I didn't catch what he's talking about. On Tubi, Tubi, that Tubi service.
I've heard of it.
And the problem obviously is that I mean, the biggest issue with that is that Tubi isn't available overseas, which is really strange, because when Lundell asked how many, or not, maybe it was Reach, asked how many people were came international, it was about 20% of the audience. So I don't think it's smart to make it well, I'm not saying that. I don't think it's a good idea to put something on a platform that's not available worldwide. I really think that they should, obviously
that's going to cause a lot of resentment.
Oh yeah. For sure. And they're already having a little bit of a disparity too, because another person that got called out was Casey Rain, because when they released Free on the acoustic version of Free, they did it overseas first, and that's where Casey Rain is from. So when it got released, he announced that it had been released on Twitter before Prince, the Prince accounts, before Paisley Park accounts. So that was another thing that he was saying, we need to make sure that we kind of handle this, because we want to be the ones that make the announcement. We want to be the ones that, and not no offense to Casey Rain,
sure, but
he's not an official soundboard or source. So we want to be able. So I think they're going to be releasing stuff in the US first, and then kind of going backwards. And I know that, and I think there's many albums I can think of from Prince that he released it over in Europe first. I think Sign of the Times was dropped in Europe first.
Oh yeah, there was a moment when he really could care less about anything happening in the United States.
Right. Yes, I did miss a section. So he mentioned about the Tubi thing. And he also said that in regards to the Prince estate, that they were one of the easiest and least contentious and dictatorial estates to work with compared to others that they have to deal with, like with Bob Dylan and Miles Davis and stuff. So that was positive to hear. And he also indicated that Prince has the most unreleased material than any other artist in the repertoire, and he's never seen anything like it. That's not a surprise to me whatsoever at all.
Shouldn't beat anybody.
Yeah, it's not. And also Lundell did take a survey to ask, how many people would be interested in obviously getting some of these things out, getting some of these concert stuff out to movie theaters. It was like, yes, of course. Why
not?
Man? Yeah. You did it on Purple Rain, doing the re-release of Purple Rain. And that was fantastic. And I was actually sitting in the movie theaters at Purple Rain with a full friggin' movie theater. I didn't think that was going to be the case. I was like, this is awesome. Here is friggin' awesome.
Did you ever see any of those? Didn't they do the same thing with the Diamonds and Pearls DVD from the? Didn't they play that in a couple movie theaters?
I believe you're right. I didn't go to that. I
wonder how that went. If anybody went to see that, please tell us. I'm curious to know how that came off.
I mean, yeah, it's Babel also said that Londale called out the global labels for really not doing enough.
Who's that?
Not
Londale. Who are the global labels?
I mean, I guess the distribution facilities that are on the other side as far as being the announcement. Because again, Casey Rain shouldn't be the one that's announcing there's a new song that's released. It should be whoever is in charge of what. I mean, technically, again, what some of the stuff that's happening with some of the Prince accounts and the Paisley Park accounts, they just have too much going on. I mean, so much going on as far as like the Prince Twitter account. The Prince Twitter account didn't even wish Prince a happy birthday on his birthday. They did day one of celebration, day two of celebration, day three of the celebration, but they didn't. They didn't mention it. And I realize that everybody else is doing it, but if there's any place that needs to mention it, it's your namesake. You should probably mention it there. You should probably mention it there. But I just think that there's a lot of things that are going on, so many pieces that are happening that they're still trying to rein all that in, especially the social media stuff. The social media stuff has always been a huge challenge for them.
It's a lot. It's a lot, man.
And there's a lot. I mean, but if that's all that you're doing, as far as you got somebody that is permanently in place, that is situated, that's all that they do. They're just zoned in, focused. But again, on the other side of that, if it's something that you want to come up with posts, but then you need to go through this whole entire approval process for every single post that you do. But that's what marketing calendars are for. You say what you're going to put out there, and then you send it to them, and you say, this is what's going to happen in June. Yay, nay, scratch, edit, what?
Right.
And that's what happens. So
somebody said, Henry Nelson at 9:12 p.m. said he got to see the Glam Slam show in Southern California a few months ago. Packed theater. So maybe it's a thing. I mean, we could expound upon.
That's I would have loved to have actually seen it in the theater. Actually, I wish they would do that again. I mean, there's some things that are just designed for theaters, and I think. I really think I wish that they would have done more with the Prince on the big screen. I really wish they would have toured with that. Just kind of come through with it where they set up at like the Target Center and you have a full band, everybody's there, and it's literally Prince on this huge screen, and everybody that was in that concert, as long as they're still here with us, was on that stage, dressed the same, sometimes not. But dressed the same, playing the same exact things, I guess, do some type of click track and whatnot. And the only thing that's missing from the stage is Prince. And if you have seats that are further back, you're watching the screen anyway. So it's like everything is happening right there in front of you. And it was a really amazing experience.
I believe it,
man. And when they did the Glam Slam version, or the that era, the 90s era version of that, like a few years later, it was amazing. There's so much that we could say. You could do this. You should do this.
That's the thing. It's a lot, and coming up with stuff is easy. Doing the heavy lifting, man.
Some other the VIP things, the concert screen. VIP saw we just talked about that. They saw the full multicam Pro Shot Gold Experience show from London 1995. That obviously featured Prince as the symbol at that time. Yourself on drums. Morris Hayes and Tommy Barbarella on keys, Sonny on bass, and of course Maite was dancing. Anything you remember specifically about that show? I know you don't remember seeing recordings of it, but any fond memories that you have? You probably haven't the whole tour, but anything that show specifically that sticks out?
Which show are we talking about now?
It's the London 1995, the Gold Experience show from London 1995.
Listen, I don't know if this is the time to be talking about all that, man. That was a really crazy time, man. Because who goes on tour to play music from an album that has no plans for release? I mean, I need more time. I can't get into it. I need more time, man.
Okay.
And I'll tell you right now, I'm not ready to talk about Pepe or Sly tonight, so you can keep those questions.
Yeah, I wasn't going to.
My heart's messed. And I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to them. I'm looking at the list. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But my heart and my mind are too. I can't get into it. I need some time to process on both of those. So.
I realized there were multiple shows, but the other part of that was, Just London, 1995. I don't want you to expand on it. You've already indicated you don't want to. Let's not do it.
Most of those shows were in London. I mean, we went to Sheffield.
Right.
I think we might have gone to Birmingham, but that was a UK thing mostly.
You know, and I don't know which show that they viewed. It was just he just said London 1995. But they also saw a screening. This was on the 8th, I guess, on Sunday, was in the MPG Music Room of a fully edited film found in the vault titled 2002 Celebration. It was a 2-hour and 6-minute compilation that she missed a couple of songs in the beginning, but it had Sheila E. performing Sister Fate, Money Don't Matter Tonight. Victor Wooten came out and did something as well. Muse to the Pharaoh, Days of Wild, Norah Jones performing Come Away With Me.
Yeah.
Acoustic version of Don't Play Me, Telemarketers Blues, so that's a rare track. Mellow, 1 + 1 + 1 is 3. Obviously, they're doing the Rainbow Children stuff, but that was mixed with Housequake and Love Roller Coaster. Then Other Side of the Pillow, Strange Relationship, Avalanche, Family Name, Purple Rain, Everlasting Now, and then they closed with Last December. And that was like a over 2-hour video. Now, that was on Sunday. I could have gone to that because that was actually available for GA, but the problem was that my flight was leaving at 3:30, and that happened at 3. It was like from 3 to 5 or whatever it was, and I just couldn't do it. I've already been there since Tuesday, and I'm just trying to keep the peace. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then they also got a little bit of a tour of some guitars. In Studio A, there's some special displays of some Taylor guitars in a small right-hand sound booth on the left side. And she listed some names. I don't know if these are listed some names of guitar. Custom, and this will only matter to guitars. Custom 754 from 1985, a silver 612 CE, a gold 612 CE, a 726 CE, a 414 CE, and a 612. They also had a Gibson Birdland from the Kiss video that was restored, and a Sadowski custom modified Telecaster with copper tubing built to spray liquid 100 feet. It was the first time on display, which I assume that was from the Purple Rain tour when he was doing the whole thing with the neck of his guitar. So all those guitars were actually on display. So I pretty much covered everything that had happened. I don't think that I missed. I'm pretty sure that I did not miss anything. For sure, I don't think I missed anything. However, so let's talk about next year's celebration. No, because there was a couple things that I took from the vault or Sunday thing and put in here. No discussion that I am aware of discussed of who they will be bringing in for the live entertainment for next year. One could imagine, and I've heard some rumors and some chatter that they may be looking at larger, more well-known acts. I'm not saying anything by this, but like the Erykah Badu's and the stuff like that, acts like that. Janelle Monáe type of, that's, who knows where they're going to go, because we've talked about this before. As far as the Purple World is concerned, there's not much that they haven't already done. And if anything, if they want to kind of build and grow, they certainly want to make sure that they avoid any further redundancy. And then, of course, on top of that, he made note several times about the fact that, yes, next year is the 10-year anniversary of his passing, so they have to do something big. He said it in a variety of different ways over the period of the night, but he was like, it's going to be big. And then for those who talk about the money side of things, at the gospel brunch, Londell announced that they were going to be doing discounts or the 2026 celebration for people who have attended previous celebrations. But he said, if you attended all of the celebrations, since I wouldn't assume he's talking about 2002, but if you attended all of the posthumous celebrations, you were going to get 50% off of the pricing. That's pretty big. That's a big chunk. And I know a lot of people that have been to every single one of them. I've been to all of them posthumously except for one, I think. If you've attended 3 or more, that would be me, you get 20% off the ticket. So there's going to be a discount apparently that's going to be applied for next year's celebration. So I know that if anything they're going to make Londell stick to, it's going to be that, because the money was a constant conversation that kept coming up. And he did, he did make a mention, he said, yes, we realize that, hey, $1,400 is a lot of money. You go to see somebody like a Beyonce to get really, really good seats, and you're paying that kind of money for a 2-hour show. And this is 4 days of, everything kind of being handed out to you for all kinds of Prince stuff. I get that, but he also realizes that even with that being said, for the VIP side of things, $1,400 is a lot of money. So that's good to know that if you went VIP to all these celebrations, next year you only have to pay $700, or who knows? I mean, they may make some price changes as a result. But he also discussed at the vault session that he wanted to make it not only more affordable, but also more family friendly. And he specifically made mention of, for those of us with kids, so there's a lot of events that happen in and around town. I don't know how receptive people will be, because I've seen people that brought kids all the time. And there's been plenty of people that I've seen bring kids, not like plenty, but, I've seen people bring their kids. But they obviously want to make it more affordable for those people who do that. But people that want the full experience to be able to go to the bars and all these after parties and events where it's going to be 18 and 21 up to get into some of these places, it kind of, it's got to be somebody that's wants to be more focused about bringing their kid than they are about partying and having a good time and doing all the things, Yeah. So that was pretty much it. So I know there's probably some things that I tapped on that, you didn't expect. But here's what I'll tell you. Should I do this now, Michael?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
This is kind of dangerous.
It's all dangerous.
All right, so listen, you guys know we had a phone line before. And it was a cluster because I bought a vanity number that was something like 777 funk or whatever it was, whatever it was. And apparently that number, one of the reasons why whoever the previous owner was let it go was because it was inundated with spam. Like, we only opened up the window for like 15 minutes and every single friggin' call that came in was like, hi, this is Amazon delivered, blah, 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 blah. Oh, so it was just like, okay, so this is like a big, this is ridiculous. So I decided to go at it a little bit differently, and I did it through Google Voice. Now, Google will already go through the process of filtering some of that spam. So I figured we might give this a try. I don't know if this will work, because obviously with Google Voice, only one call at a time can come through. So we're going to open up the phone lines. It's a different number, just so you know. And it's weird because this was not an unintentional vanity number. I was looking things up and trying to see what letters worked and whatnot. But the number is 567-393-3865, which spells out Lord We Funk. I'm not kidding. That's really what it spells out. Lord We Funk.
That's a sign.
Listen, if you come on and we happen to be talking to somebody, like, I think somebody's already calling in. No, I think this person's calling me direct. But basically, if you call in and you get if we're talking to somebody, it may kick to voicemail, but what it does is it does a transcription. So you do the transcription, and then what happens is that I'll see exactly what it was that you said. So we may call you back, or if you stay put, I may interrupt the thing. But anyways, let's try it. If you want to call in, you got a question, or you want to talk about something that they covered that you have a question about, let's talk about it. And we got our first call right here. Let's give this a try. I don't know if this will work or not, but we will friggin' see. No, actually, okay. The way it came in, it was kind of confusing. Kurt, go ahead and call me back. Go ahead and give it a shot. I will pick up, and then we'll just see how this works. We can give it a shot. That's all we can do. But the other good thing about it is that I can also see the name of the person that's calling. If you do get the voicemail, do not leave a long drawn out message because again, it transcribes. I'm not going to sit here and read paragraphs of stuff. So just say what your name is and give a real brief of what you want to talk about, like whatever. And
he says it went to your voicemail. Yeah.
Well, no, because I saw it coming in and it looked like it was coming in on my regular phone, and I think he has my regular phone number too. That's what I'm saying. All right, so here it is. Let's see if this works. Hopefully it will. Give me just a second. Kurt, are you there? Trying to see if I can hear him. I see some activity here, but let's see if Kurt, are you there? Oh wait, I know what it's wrong. It's Kurt. It's not you. It's me.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
There he is.
There you go.
Well, hello, MB.
Hey, you're a little loud, man.
I'm sorry. I'm trying not to be.
I can bring him down. This is Kurt Cartman from the Electric Vibe, by the way.
That's right.
That is correct. You are correct, sir.
So
I'll tell you, in short, not having any context from previous celebrations and this being my first full enchilada VIP, I will say I thought it was worth every penny. I thought the staff had it very well organized. The security staff was warm and inviting and friendly. I'd say all aspects of the staff, right down to the folks who were handling the cafe orders and what have you. It's just a pleasant experience all around.
And overall, from the VIP side of things, that is what I heard. I did hear that the VIP was just loved it, just loved everything about it, loved the food, the selection of music that they got. In previous times when they've shown concerts that I have been in VIP area before, it's like not the whole concert. Yeah. They'll show like 45 minutes of an hour and a half concert. This time around, they showed the whole thing. And, tell me about that experience as far as the concerts are concerned.
Well, I mean, the first full enchilada concert that we had was the Parade 1986, I believe, March 3rd show. Okay. I mean, and he's premiering all these songs from around the world, not just live premieres of some of the songs from around the world today that he didn't necessarily play in other shows, but some of the songs from Parade that they're getting their first debut, if memory serves. And it was just like the sound, the video from it looked like a VHS quality tape, but the sound that they got, that's the thing we want to hear. It sounded like you're in the goddamn concert yourself.
That's good. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be. If you're going to experience a concert, that's what it's supposed to be. You got to be enveloped and
yeah,
it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Good.
And Michael, coming to you, sir, that Gold Experience show, I would have, if I can curse on the show, I would have shit myself if I was in your shoes.
You already cursed twice. What's that now?
Well, you know how I am. You know I got a salty tongue. You know I got a salty tongue.
Just be you, man. No, you all right, man.
Go ahead, Sailor.
Say what you got to say.
Excuse me, you got to buy me dinner first before you call me that there. No, but seriously,
Yeah, so and Rico,
I'm salty more ways than one, apparently.
And Rico was agreeing with you.
But seriously,
Rico says that VIP was more organized this year, and yes, they finally showed the full shows. The other thing too, I want to say why I got you on the line is thank you for wearing Funkatopia gear.
Hey man, listen, we understand how this works. I understood the assignment when I came.
That was awesome. We
if I can say,
and Kurt was wearing a Funkatopia shirt in First Avenue, and I was just like, that's badass. It was very, very cool. Very
I had to take off the shirt that I was wearing because we were sweating so much from dancing all those funky tracks, Chris. So of course I had it strategically placed that eventually I would reveal I was wearing one of your products. So we got this thing down pat, hopefully.
Yeah, it's all good.
So
all right, well, I appreciate you calling in and giving us this big test on this phone line.
Hey, man.
It's working fine, man. It's good. It's great. It's good news.
And I had to say, next time I come into town, Michael, a piece of chalet pizza is on me.
Okay, whatever that is, I'm down.
Chalet pizza? I've never heard.
Oh, that was so when we had Melissa Huntsberry on one of our episodes, and that apparently was Chick's favorite pizza, and Prince frequently ordered from that. In fact, Sheila E. ordered a stack one time for a recording session, according to the folks who run the shop over there. So, it's in Eden Prairie. It's not terribly far from you.
Yeah, great. You can come right over, man. I'll help you eat it.
All right, man. All right.
Thank you, Kirk. I appreciate it. Thank you for calling in, brother.
Thanks, Kirk.
Hey, you guys have a good night. Thanks for letting me on, man. Appreciate
You're
it.
all right there, Electric Vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, make sure you guys tune in. That's another great show.
That's right.
Another podcast is out there. There's Electric Vibe. They do some good work too. Yeah, we are going to, just so you know, I probably will be in July or August. I do want to have a podcast show where I kind of get a bunch of other Prince podcasters and groups to all come on to do one friggin' big roundtable.
Absolutely.
Just got to try to figure out the, just got to figure out the cadence and the topicality of it. Not just for the sake of that. But yeah, I mean, let me just say it is, it's really refreshing. And I was very, very happy to see that the VIP was done so well this year. And that the organization of it overall was done so well. They had so many challenges last year with the long lines getting into the tent to get food. And some people didn't even get to eat. And then some people missed stuff and this, that, and the other. Whatever it was, whatever their challenges were last year, it was not an issue this year. Everything was flowing and moving and just, I mean, it was really great. So kudos. I can't give you enough props to Lundell and Charles and that whole team over there. And not just them. I know they're kind of like the most visible folks, but let me just say Paisley Park staff and all those security folks and all those hard people that are hard at work doing all the vending stuff. And I mean, I get it. It's a whole thing. And you guys killed it this year. Everybody that was involved, you guys killed it this year. And what was really, I think, a little bit more surprising than anything for me was that they, it looked on paper when it was kind of out, it was like, okay, all right, I can, all right, I see that's okay. That's good. I think we got a good show, but in execution, holy cow, it did not translate. It was just so much more amazing. I think if they were able to kind of take that experience that it actually was, I mean, we shouldn't have doubted them, but take that experience that it actually was and be able to properly communicate that on some of their sales stuff. I think I felt like there was a little bit of a disconnect with what they had on paper to what actually happened, which was pretty friggin' amazing. I think if you had the reviews of what VIPs said before, they would have, way more people would have gone. But I think it would behoove them to go to the VIPs and get those reviews right now and kind of have people share their experiences like they're doing here.
Absolutely.
And hopefully that will help to boost some tickets. But from the looks of things, the way they're planning to kind of shake this out with next year being the 10-year anniversary of his passing, I think you kind of, I think if the tickets come out, you probably should get them, because if it's going to be as big as he says they're going to be, I see it. Trust me, I see all this chatter in the chat room about I'll believe it when I see it. I'm not expecting much. I see it. I've just kind of been letting them go by.
But I'm wondering how many of those are people who weren't there this year.
There were.
Some people who are, and so some people are still skeptical, even though they just.
Correct.
Okay, that's fair.
They pivot. I mean, right, Mabel. They pivoted. Correct. John says we didn't talk about the 95 London show. Yeah, we did talk. We talked about it. You kind of came late.
Like it's that you're talking about a tour for an album that wasn't even supposed to come out, man. It's not that. I mean, it was wrought with technical difficulties.
Yeah, so we're not gonna we'll get into that at some point in time, maybe like an anniversary of something
it's not a disastrous story. It's mostly funny, but we got so much on the docket, man. I don't want to stop there.
Yeah, that's all good.
And plus, we're in like 2 hours and 50 minutes now. So
yeah. So
we need to be looking for an out.
Right. Yeah. So we're looking for an out. So I think the first out is going to be taking down this number, even though Lord We Funk is not a difficult number. Just so you know, that number is available. That number will be available to 24/7. So if you guys want to call that number, Lord We Funk, and leave like little messages about Funkatopia or about anything, you can leave it on. It's on Google Voice. We may share your recordings on the show here. So it's kind of giving you a little bit of an outlet of a place to kind of go. And that's kind of the plan. So, and that's why I wanted to create this. I really wanted to make a place that's kind of like a hotline. You guys remember hotlines, right? That's what we wanted to do. Hotline for purple folks.
Yeah.
So Lord We Funk is your hotline for purple folks. Just call me messages. Will it will be on all the time. No matter when you listen to this, it will be there. So we want to tell you guys once again, thank you so much for tuning in for this celebration recap. I know it is a lot. We're creeping up. We're only like about 20 minutes away from having a 3. Actually, technically, it's only about 10 minutes short of being a 3-hour show.
Yes.
We will be back Tuesday on the 17th. So please make sure that you come and go and I'm sorry, somebody's already calling in. So next week. Yeah, no. Because it looks like they came in and then jumped. So next Tuesday, we have the lovely bass monster goddess Mohini Day in the house. If you do not know who Mohini Day is, look her up because she is a monster. Oh my gosh, she is incredible. And she's going to be on the show talking about her music, talking about her story. And, we love to be able to continue to share music and share all this stuff with you. We love to do it. And next week we have Mohini Day. And then the following Tuesday on June 24th, we have the Time
JMTF band. JMTF.
Right. It's Jelly Bean Johnson, Tori Ruffin, Monty Moore, and Ricky Freeze are all going to be on the show on the 24th. So next Tuesday, Mohini Day. The following Tuesday, the Time Band. So get ready. We're just going to be killing it like we always do. I've asked Michael several times, maybe we need to take a break, take the Tuesday off. And he tells me on the phone, he was like, nope.
Hey, listen,
you got to keep on keeping on, man.
I don't think this is the place for us to pat ourselves on the back. We got to go.
No. Yeah, we got to.
Yeah, let's keep moving, man, because I feel like there's a certain kind of momentum going on right now.
Well, absolutely, and appreciate you, Londell. I know that some people, felt like your call outs to me as Mr. Funkatopia a couple times during those vault sessions felt like they were kind of a little bit of a slight and maybe a little bit of a dig, and most likely probably they were.
Yeah, probably just smacking you on the shoulder,
right?
Bit, man.
And I get it.
All is fair, man. All is we have been, even if it's been constructive, but we've been critical. You can feel some kind of way if he wants to.
Yeah. So
we know who we are. We know what we're here to do. It's all right.
So just know there's no hard feelings. Thank you for, worst case scenario, you let more people know about, who we were. And I appreciate what you guys are doing. And hopefully we are looking forward to seeing all of those things that you say are in the works, and hopefully they will come to fruition.
Yeah.
As you say, they will kind of be rolled out, but just know you've now said it. So they're waiting, and, we're here for it. Yeah. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Funkatopia Live tonight. I am your host, Mr. Christopher. I don't even know why I have to introduce this man. He's a legend, Mr. Michael Bland.
Yeah, why introduce me, man? Why you doing that, man?
Y'all know who he is. Peace.
Oh Lord.
All right, good night, everybody. If you missed any of the show, don't worry about it. Just head to Spotify or iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to podcasts. It will all be up there tomorrow, and the live version of what we just did is going to be immediately available on Facebook, YouTube, and X. And we also did Twitch this time around too. And yes, I heard you. Somebody begged me to be on TikTok. It takes a little bit of a setup, and it had me in some horrendous loop. And I was trying to get it on TikTok, but we will be on TikTok too. We'll see. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much once again.
Good night.
God bless all of you. Have a question? Lord We Funk. Just go ahead and put it there, and we'll get it. We'll get it. Good night.